By Tums, as we are set and ready to go at historic Nippert Stadium here in the Big 12 as Cincinnati run it out from the 1. Logan Wilson stopped at the 20. Time now for our sideline report presented by LinkedIn. Here's Taylor Davis.
Well, Roy, this Iowa State secondary will be a bit depleted today, missing mainstay defensive backs Jontez Williams and Jeremiah Cooper, who both suffered season-ending knee injuries just a week apart from each other. Both were preseason Big 12 and irreplaceable leaders. Neither were able to make the trip. They won't be on the sidelines here today, so this coaching staff is looking to guys like Trey Bell and Quentin Taylor to step up in their place. Bell told me the defense had a meeting ahead of this game talking about how to uphold the standard against this Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, Taylor, it's 2 preseason all Big 12 performers. Your 2 starting cornerbacks on the shelf. A little outside zone. Tawee Walker, the hero last week in the win in Lawrence. The last-second touchdown to lift the Bearcats to their first Big 12 win. And for Scott Satterfield, what a start in year number 3 after an early season setback against Nebraska. His team playing much better, as well as his quarterback. On the screen ahead towards the 27 is Cyrus Allen off a career game. And Brendan Sorsby, the Indiana transfer, so impressive to talk to, Sam, and a guy that really is starting to build confidence.
He started to master his craft in the offseason. He took the weight room more seriously. We talked to him. He said he took how he ate more seriously. He knows that this is a big season, not just for him, but for his entire football team.
On 3rd down, some movement the right side of that Cincinnati offensive line. And Jace Gilbert also broached the line of scrimmage in front of DeAndre Buford.
Number 55 defense entering the zone and causing a reaction. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Gilbert's just a redshirt freshman. He had 40 snaps last week for John Haycock, the defensive coordinator. They're high on his potential. But an early mistake on 3rd and 3, Sam.
He has the size. He's 6'5", about 280. He's got the size, the ability, but still the youth for a mistake like that.
Toasty afternoon in Cincinnati. Temperatures expected to reach the lower 80s. Tawee Walker still on his feet. And Walker's going to pick up a first down. He'll shove the pile towards midfield.
You're already getting a sense of some of the physicality of this Cincinnati offensive line. Look at the blocks up front. And then Tawee Walker lowers his shoulder and continues to press. You have to be stouter when it comes to tackling, because Tawee Walker is going to bring his pad with him.
Kind of reminds you, longtime Cincinnati running back Corey Kiner. The physicality, 5'8", 220. He's got the low center of gravity. That's a fancy way of saying he's short. He'll fake it his direction on the boot. Back the other way, Sorsby, triple coverage. An incomplete. Caleb Goody was open for a moment. He got behind that 3-3-5 scheme. It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, strong safety number 19, Tayshawn James, was a little bit out of position on that play. Sorsby overthrew that ball a bit, but expect Cincinnati to go back to a play like that.
Brendan Sorsby, really one bad pass this year. It was costly in that season-opening setback at Arrowhead against Nebraska. He's learned a lot from that, according to his coaches, and probably also according to Brendan himself. Redshirt junior out of Denton, Texas. A little RPO, open in the seam off the slant. Jeff Caldwell. And a first down for the Bearcats. Impressive on the opening possession.
You've already started to see some of the transfer receivers make an impact. That's number 9, Jeff Caldwell, and an RPO. 6'5", 215 transfer from Lindenwood, but we saw Cyrus Allen earlier, number 4, make an impact, the transfer from A&M. So this offense is, yeah, they're running the ball, but they want to get the ball to their receivers to make an impact on the sidelines.
It's a gain of 21, Evan Pryor on the field. He'll motion into the backfield. And Pryor a touch and a crease. Pryor with the house call to start. And the Bearcats strike first. yards in 6 plays prior from 30 yards out. And just the start this capacity crowd wanted to see with the Ohio State transfer, the early honors. Rusnak on for the point after. And it's 7-0 just like that.
This has been a textbook opening type of drive for Cincinnati. The running game, the passing game, the play action game, and now you go back to the run. Great job by the offensive line, specifically tight end Patrick Gerd, sealing out the edge player. But the reason this play works is that they've won on the run early, they won on the RPO game, and all of a sudden Evan Pryor has the defense guessing.
And we mentioned it from the jump. A big game for Cincinnati, a big game for Scott Satterfield. It's year 3, and they want to get off to a fast start. And the pride is back in the Queen City. We remind you, here's the Taco Bell Live Más student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Más student section of the year. You will take home the trophy this year. It's a packed house, and Sam, if you didn't know any better, it feels a lot like what it did 4 years ago when this team was knocking on the door and crashing the CFP party.
I was down on the field earlier, Roy, and the student section, they were here a few hours before the game and they didn't leave. There's this sense of confidence, a sense of pride in this team, and belief that this Cincinnati team can be even more competitive than they've been in years past.
First touchdown of the season for Pryor. And the touchback gives the Cyclones the football. First down to Taylor.
Well, Roy, an added personal element to this one for some of these coaches that have a lot of history together. Cincinnati defensive coordinator Tyson Veit spent 8 years at Iowa State as the associate head coach and linebackers coach. And both of the head coaches, Scott Satterfield and Matt Campbell, go back to the early 2000s when they were both on staff at Toledo. The three all speak so highly of each other as coaches and humans, saying none of us would be where we are without each other.
It was a family reunion of sorts going all the way back to that 09 Toledo program. Satterfield and Campbell, the run and pass game coordinators for the Rockets. That was just outside the Glass Bowl. And a handoff to Carson Hansen. Picks up 8 yards, and they're the two. I mean, it really did, in our conversations this week with both staffs, feel like a family reunion. They're both very sharp offensive minds and both committed to their programs, and similar programs in terms of scheme and to be able to develop so many players.
It's not just the head coaches that know each other. The defensive coordinator of Iowa State mentored Cincinnati's defensive coordinator. John Haycock mentored Tyson Veit. So you have the defensive coordinators who know each other. The offensive coordinator of Iowa State has a relationship with the defensive coordinator. So this team and these games have so much on the line with relationships.
Alan Mansky checks in, the backup quarterback to Rocco Beck. They'll run him with quarterback power and over the right side. Gain of nearly 4 yards on first down. Coleman brought him down to the turf, and Sam, we expected to see that today.
Correct. I heard someone down on the field saying expect to see Mansky early. He's going to run it early, but be aware, because if Cincinnati plays the run too much, they may eventually turn that into a pass.
Rocco Beck, meanwhile, one of the top quarterbacks in America. His 33rd career start. And the goal simply is to get Iowa State into that college football playoff and to win the Big 12. On the toss sweep, and Hansen tries to get to the edge. Bearcats will bottle him up. It's a gain of 2. It'll be third down. Jake Golday, first time we've called his name this afternoon. And the Cyclones, who are known to go for it on fourth, now faced with third and short.
This doesn't seem, Roy, like that important of a drive. It's the first drive of the game for the offense, but in order to keep the confidence of a team like Cincinnati down, Iowa State's got to continue to convert on third and fourth downs early in this game.
Penalty markers fly in.
Illegal substitutions. 12 players in the offensive formation.
Second penalty called against the Cyclones, and that's breaking news, as they're one of the top teams in America in terms of fewest number of infractions, and with the yardage at just over 22. Let's do third and long now.
This team lives off of discipline, but now you're in a third and obvious pass situation. Expect some of those pass rushers up front for Cincinnati to try to get after the quarterback.
Bearcats do get Dante Corleone back in the fold today, the massive nose tackle. Four-man pressure, time for Beck. Breaking open, and the one-handed grab, it pops out at the last minute. Chase Sowell, coming off a career performance a week ago, and he dropped it in traffic. The ECU transfer.
The ball was behind Sowell. This ball needs to be placed a little bit out further. You see how far it was behind Sowell. Great effort trying to get that ball. He didn't finish the catch, but he's still down on the ground right now.
So after the initial first down, it'll be punting time for the Cyclones. And Sowell, the ECU transfer, started his career at Colorado, helped to his feet finally, and walking under his own power. Jaquan Sanks in coverage there. That's a player that you were impressed with on film.
But the issue with this, Roy, is that Chase Sowell, he had an injury in fall camp. He missed a majority of fall camp with a shoulder. So now that he's out again, just after he had a breakout game, the game may change and be more tight end focused for Iowa State.
Matt Campbell's charged with this program to be a lead in special teams. Perkins booms a punt, and Covey with a fair catch at the 18. Good start for the home team, 1-0 in the Big 12, and a 7-0 advantage, 5-0. Advantage, and the throw sails high for Jeff Caldwell, in the 6'4" frame, incomplete.
Cincinnati's looked so far early in the game like the more physical team. Iowa State's known for their physicality, but when it comes to the run game, even the pass protection, Cincinnati's coming with a little bit of an attitude early to this game.
Second down and 10. Bearcats trailed at Kansas late in the game a week ago. Tyree Walker from 3 yards out, and a defensive stop with less than a minute to play was the difference. Again, high for Caldwell, and a bump to boot on the incompletion from Quentin Taylor Jr. And quickly it's third down. But it feels like, as we mentioned in that first drive, that Cincinnati is kind of back in this position where it hasn't been, you know, post Luke Fickell era, where they're poised to try to make some noise in a conference. And Brendan Sorsby in the last 3 games after Nebraska has been one of the top quarterbacks in America.
There's a sense, and we heard from the Iowa State coaching staff, that this Cincinnati team they're facing right now was the most complete offense they faced all season long. So they're just building confidence for the team.
Sorsby with time, floats one deep, man-to-man coverage right over the top, and he snuck it in there. Noah Jennings caught the 4th and 10 pass last week. He catches a long pitch and catch here, and the Bearcats back in business.
This is concentration. This is elite level skill. Pressure towards the side of Sorsby, and just tight roping the sideline. The 6'1", 190 junior from Columbia, South Carolina makes an outstanding play.
Snuck it right past Trey Bell. And you wonder there about the 2 injured starting cornerbacks for Iowa State. Do we start to see a difference there? And again with Pryor. Evan Pryor, another big gainer, this time on the ground as he rumbles out of bounds, and a gain of 21.
And right tackle number 56, DeAndre Buford, makes an outstanding block on the edge. You see it, there's nobody there, but look at him, second level blocking. That's what allows that play to spring for such a big gain.
Sam is a starting linebacker in the NFL for nearly 10 years. What's it like to go face-to-face with one of those massive offensive tackles?
It's one of the worst feelings in the world because they're usually about 100 pounds larger than you, and when they get their hands on you, it's hard to get off.
Yeah, the long arms, the strong hands, a trademark at that tackle position on the right and left side. Evan Pryor darts ahead towards the red zone, and a 5-yard gain on first.
What we're seeing right now, Roy, is an offense running almost to perfection. Why do I say that? We've seen this stretch or outside zone play. These are the plays that are going to the C-gap, to the outside. But last year, we saw a couple of these plays that turn into a play action. So it may not be now, but the more effective that this stretch and outside zone is, Cincinnati's going to be even more effective when they turn into their play action passing game.
It's a team that has recorded over 600 yards of total offense in its last 2 games. 137 today, looking for more. Little hand fighting near the goal line, and Quentin Taylor Jr. outstanding coverage. A bang-bang play near that front pylon.
And there's so much confidence in really the receivers for Cincinnati. Quentin Taylor Jr. from Florida. nice play by him, but they're going to go back to attacking some of these young, inexperienced DBs who are stepping up for some of the injured players who are down this week.
Noah Jennings, the intended receiver. The Bearcats already with 5 plays of 15 yards or more. Just on their second possession, it's third down. Sorsby with all afternoon to survey. He can run it. There comes the flag. He'll toss it, and it's broken up in the end zone. On third down and 5. Tayshaun James in coverage. This one likely against UC.
Holding. Number 56, offense. The penalty is declined. Fourth down.
So remember when I said they get their hands on you? Like, first was a good block, now it's a bad block. Number 56, DeAndre Buford, the right tackle. He's going to hold. You don't need a hold. Now, the problem here is he gets his feet turned, and he doesn't see that second-level rusher coming. But that's the problem when you get those big paws on somebody without moving your feet. It's likely going to be a hold.
Why does it always have to be the big paws?
Well, they're the Bearcats, right? So,
I mean, I use the phrase, too. That's what I always refer to. They bat it down to the line of scrimmage. 38-yard attempt. And Rusnak able to bang it through. Iowa State has trailed for a grand total of 28 seconds this season before today. Now trailing 10-0 halfway home in the first.
So you can love food that.
Ah, yes, Cincinnati's own Angelo Dawkins, part of the Street Profits tag team, in the house today. One day after SmackDown went down here in the Queen City, and a little Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the Bearcat and reclaiming the Cincinnati belt. Great to see him in the house, and he was firing up this capacity crowd in student section about a half hour before kick.
I just wonder what would happen if any 1, 2, or 10 of those guys would try to challenge him for the belt. What would happen in a 1 versus 10?
Sounds like an internet meme of some kind, doesn't it? Ensuing kickoff, Bearcats a 10-0 advantage. Off the bounce is Flora, and sent down crossing the 20. Well, for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you once again, Allstate. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. There's Rocco Beck. His team trailing 10-0 to start. An Iowa State team that has been fairly dominant this year. In fact, you look at their 5-0 mark. Trailed just those 28 seconds against Kansas State. It was close win in the Cyhawk series against Iowa. And really handled Arizona at home in Ames a week ago. And some early adversity. Trailing by just 10 on the slant, and the pass is going to be grabbed quickly by Dominic Overby. And Overby, a gain of 5 on first down.
One thing you'll see, Roy, as this game goes along, Iowa State, when they're on offense, is Rocco Beck has a lot of command and control, not just of the line of scrimmage, but of what play is going to be called. You see them looking at their wristbands. Well, he has an opportunity to change that call based off what the defensive structure is. So continue to watch Rocco Beck on the hard count changing plays.
In motion is Sama. He'll get it on the jet sweep and pick up a first down. A big possession for the Cyclones. The one thing we know about Iowa State and Matt Campbell, late penalty marker comes in. They're not going to panic, and they won't be flustered trailing by 10 in the first quarter.
They don't beat themselves for the most part, but what we've seen early in this game are a few penalties against Iowa State. One way to win is not to beat yourself. Don't give the game away. That's the staple of Matt Campbell-led teams.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 7, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Number 84 can stay in the game because of come off.
Logan Wilson with the penalty, and it's costly. It'll move the football ahead to the 49.
And sometimes it's a little bit too much energy. I was down on the field before the game, and Logan Wilson was the guy in the middle of the huddle hyping everybody up. I understand you want to play hard and hype guys up, but you have to taper it down when the whistle's blown.
Cyclones will shift out of a 4 receiver set, that upper part of your screen. Sama with a leap and a big-time play on first down. Still on his feet. And a punishing finish inside the 35. Right over the top of Gola Kalar.
We haven't seen a lot of Abu Sama this season. It's really been the Carson Hansen show, but welcome to the party, Abu Sama, 5'11", 210, junior, hurdling over defenders and muscling his way for a first down.
And we saw a lot of Carson Hansen a week ago, and Sama more than capable. Former Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year. Junior out of Des Moines. Play action. A late penalty flag comes in. The pass is caught for a first down. Overby, his second reception on this possession.
Holding. Number 75, offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
3 infractions already against the Cyclones in the first quarter.
For a team that doesn't beat itself. And we talked about the energy that Cincinnati has. Sometimes you might try to do a little bit too much in a game that you know has a lot of importance. I was talking to the director of player engagement. He said, man, all these players for Iowa State, they want to play for Matt Campbell. They want Matt Campbell to be able to beat his mentor, if you will, right? A friendly competition. But you have to, once again, taper some of that and not let your emotions take control.
Back on first down, they'll set up the screen. Abu Sama wrestled down to the 42. Jake Golday.
Another name you need to know, Jake Golday, 6'3", 240, averages almost 10 tackles a game. He is a physical specimen. He's all over the field, one of their linebackers, usually to the field side. But when he hits you, you feel it.
Second down and 17. After the 3-yard gain, approaching 5.5 minutes ago in the first. Back with time. Fires another strike. Well, Overby had 4 catches on the season coming into this game. He's got 3 on this drive alone for the Cyclones.
Next man up mentality. You see Chase Sowell go down. All of a sudden, Dominic Overby has this next man up mentality. Hadn't had a lot of action so far, but it's a receiver by committee approach. Now we got 3rd and 6. Rocco Beck is trying to dial something up.
Cyclones and Bearcats known for going for it on 4th down this season. They're both perfect in that department on the year. Iowa State 0 for 1 on 3rd so far today. Empty backfield. Beck wants to run it, and he goes nowhere. Slung down to the line. Jalen Hunt. Well, a rude introduction and a great start for this Cincinnati defense.
Jalen Hunt made the play, but Dante Corleone, he allowed his buddy to do the work. Dante Corleone is 6'1", 335. Watch him right in the middle of your screen. Just avoid 2 blockers and then make Rocco Beck have to avoid the rush. So great job by Corleone helping out his friend.
Perfect on this season. Iowa State 4th and 6. Rocco Beck with all day to throw. Incomplete, and he missed his tight end, Gabe Burkle.
Rocco Beck still a little bit off.
On ESPN, and Cincinnati's own Angelo Dawkins stealing camera 5 from our guy, camera operator Lance, and taking in the action, enjoying the sights and sounds, firing up this capacity crowd, as is the team on the field. Tyree Walker bangs ahead for a 12-yard gain, and a first down, chopped down by Marcus Neal, but Cincinnati back on the move again.
They're back attacking those edges, but don't be afraid or don't be surprised when you see a play action coming off of that stretch or outside zone action.
Walker again, punishing finish. Bowls over a Cyclone defender at midfield. That one's gonna hurt, and had some great blocking up front as well.
And that was Tarantino, first of all, had a great block up front. But man, watch this hit. I mean, don't even, just listen. Boom. Sheesh. Carson Willick was on the receiving end of that one.
That's going to leave a mark. Walker again still on his feet. Now the Bearcats have been in the weight room this week, it feels like. Tayshawn James finally brings him down, but Walker lowers the boom in a 7-yard gain.
You talked about his height. He's only 5'8", but he's 218, so he's compact. He's a transfer from Oklahoma. Yes, he has speed, but it's the physicality that's standing out time and time again.
Tayshaun James on the turf, and a timeout here in our first quarter, under 3 minutes to go.
Roy, you asked about what it was like to play linebacker and take on an offensive lineman. I think this is probably worse. Carson Willick is in a lot of pain as we speak. I'm in pain even talking about it. Like, I played defense that hurt me, and I'm all the way up in the booth.
That's the kind of play that reaches beyond the singular play itself, doesn't it? When you see one of your teammates absorb that kind of contact and go backwards, it hurts the psyche. And then you think about offensively for Cincinnati, it boosts the morale when you see your running backs handle their business.
As an offense, you think you're good. You think you're going to be able to execute. You think you're going to be more physical. But now you know. Tawee Walker just showed everybody on that offense, hey, we are the more physical team, or at least we can be, or we think we're going to be. What needs to happen for Iowa State is some of the young guys who are now taking steps up because of the injuries need to play just a little bit more technically sound. Don't abandon your pass rush lanes or your run gap responsibilities. Just work on that technique just a little bit more to get this game back in hand.
Walker's numbers this season, today 5 touches, 49 yards. And for Pryor, 3 touches for 56 yards. And the touchdown. Well, they'll fake the option. Sorsby the other way. He wants to run it. He'll pick up the first and slide in safely past the 30. Now, Sorsby rushed for over 140 yards last year against Iowa State. First time today he's really called his number.
I love the decision by Brendan Sorsby. He's looking for running back Evan Pryor on the wheel route. Pryor's not available, so instead of getting negative yardage, he rushes and gets a first down. That's a great decision by Sorsby when nothing else was available.
He told us this week, Sam, I'd rather throw it than run it, but if they want me to run it, he's put on some good weight in the offseason, more than willing to do so. RPO again, slant incomplete, and Cyrus Allen was open for a moment, and a bit out of rhythm that time from Sorsby to Allen. Those two have a very tight relationship. In fact, it was Brendan Sorsby that helped recruit Cyrus Allen, a couple of DMs when he entered the transfer portal.
Allen, to your point, is from New Orleans, Louisiana, transfer from Louisiana Tech and also A&M, but Sorsby took his opportunity to try and get the best receivers available, and Allen so far has been playing like one of the best receivers in the Big 12.
Second down and 10. Sorsby wants to run it again, and he will. Sorsby with the spin. He'll pick up the first down, a gain of 11 more.
We heard from John Haycock, the defensive coordinator of Iowa State. He said this is going to be 11-man football, meaning 11 on 11, meaning the quarterback is going to be a problem. We have to keep eyes on him. We're seeing a lot of 3-man rush from Iowa State. They're getting zero pressure on the quarterback. So I would expect either a little bit more blitzing or maybe someone to spy Brendan Sorsby to try and get more pressure or spy him when he runs.
Yeah, Brendan Sorsby, the standout quarterback. He's accounted for 15 touchdowns this season, the dual threat. Off the power, they'll send him to the edge, still on his feet, and Sorsby dives down. Taylor, he's quite the recruiter, right, if you go back to the heart of the offseason for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Brendan Sorsby really took ownership of needing to replenish that wide receiver group. Jeff Caldwell, Cyrus Allen, like you mentioned, all received DMs from him in the offseason. He said, I know I can be an effective quarterback, but I can't do it alone. They put a lot of emphasis in that in the offseason, and the chemistry jumps off the page.
And the DM's the direct message on social media. He was out there recruiting and looking, along with his coaching staff, for talent after players enter the transfer portal. Pass is incomplete, looking for Noah Jennings. It's now 3rd down and 5.
We talked to him about it during the week. He said, I wasn't really DMing guys that often, right? You talked to Jeff Caldwell. The only DM that he got was this message of come be great. And that's what Sorsby's trying to do. 3rd down, money down, most important down. You're seeing him attacking some of the young corners of Iowa State. But this is the time to be great. You can talk about it on social media all you want. Now's the time to be about it.
Sorsby just 1 for his last 7 through the air, and the play clock winding down. Scott Satterfield standing on the 26-yard line. Utilize a timeout. Well, coming up, 3:30 Eastern on ABC and the all-new ESPN app. How about 10th-ranked Alabama in Tuscaloosa? Game day was there this morning as Diego Pavia and the undefeated Vanderbilt Commodores come to town later tonight in primetime. Also on ABC, the Sunshine State rivalry is back. Third-ranked Miami, number 18 Florida State. What a scene it will be at the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium. Meanwhile, in Tuscaloosa, Diego Pavia still being Diego Pavia this week. He doesn't think that game's going to be close, but here comes Ty Simpson, who's been on a heater.
Two of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. So you could argue with Ty Simpson specifically in the nation. Diego Pavia, this Vanderbilt offense, they dominate time of possession. They're top 20 in college football. Alabama and Ty Simpson, they have to be a lead if they want to win this game, which sounds crazy talking about Alabama and Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt is playing on another level right now.
Give respect to Clark Lee in that program. They are well past the old Vanderbilt that we've talked about for decades. After the timeout, 3rd down and 5. That's Allen, the A&M transfer in motion. Open in the flat, Sorsby the other way. Pass is caught, Joe Royer to the end zone. And a hop, skip, and a jump.
We talked about some of the impact that these tight ends are going to make. Well, when do you need the biggest impact in the red zone? Joe Royer, a hometown kid from Cincinnati, 6'5", 240. He's got the size, the skill, the ability. But when you need him most, number 11 for Cincinnati is going to get it done.
3rd touchdown of the season for the transfer from Ohio State, a Cincinnati native. Feels like he's been a part of this program for a long time. Preseason all Big 12. High expectations. The program that is known for producing tight ends, dare we say, and how about a 17-0 score? The home team out in front. We're still in the first quarter.
Travis Kelce would be proud. Joe Royer was on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, and so he runs across the formation. The defense not only doesn't get him, but you also see a missed tackle by safety Marcus Neal Jr. Had an opportunity, but didn't make the play.
You and I wondered, and we talked with Taylor about this as well. Sorsby the last 3 games has been so good, so on point. He's yet to really notch that big-time win as a starting quarterback to get this program to the next level. Could this be the day where that happens and maybe he announces his arrival on the national scene? And what we've seen so far, he is more than ready.
It could be, but the thing that he has to avoid, and we heard this from the coaching staff, are the impulse decisions, right? That interception at the wrong time. If you can win a game like this by doing the little things well, all of a sudden the excitement about Cincinnati doesn't just become excitement, it turns into reality.
Into the end zone. Cyclones will get it at their 25. UFC 320 is headed your way tonight, live from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, highlighted by 2 title fights. The light heavyweight and bantamweight belts are on the line. Prelims start at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. The main card at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on pay-per-view. Buy it at ESPNplus.com/PPV. Iowa State trailing 17-0, undefeated at 5-0 for the 2nd straight year. Played in the Big 12 championship game last season. Beck wants it all. Has a man-to-man coverage on that back hip. The pass is corralled. It's enough for a 1st down into plus territory. Eskilson hauls it in. Let's check the penalty.
Threw it to Eskilson. He had Bramer on the other side as well.
Pass interference. Number 5, defense. The penalty is declined. 1st down.
It's one thing to catch it. It's another thing to catch it as you're being interfered with for 41 yards.
Brett Eskilson is a speed guy. They say that he's the fastest guy on the team, so that's why he gets behind the defense. Not only does he get behind the defense, but he has the focus and concentration to bring that ball in, really with one hand.
11th catch of the season. 2 running backs in the backfield flanking Rocco Becht. Sama's got it. He'll test the left edge with success. That's a 1st down and more. Into the red zone go the Cyclones. And Iowa State on the final play of the 1st quarter A play away from getting right back in at 15 minutes in. Plenty of fireworks.
State trailing 17-0. Matt Campbell joins me now. Coach, you referred to Cincinnati this week as a complete team. How have they tested you through one?
Well, they've won on their detail, and we haven't so far. So what a great test for us. We knew that we'd get their best early on. We're going to have to do a great job responding from here on out.
Thanks for the time.
Thanks so much.
Taylor, thank you. If you didn't know any better, the always cool, calm, and collected Matt Campbell welcoming this early deficit on the road. Last two plays for the Cyclones, Sam, accounting for 61 yards. That's half of their total offense in that first quarter at $122. They'll have it on 1st and 10 in the red zone. Rocco Beck, how about the cut and the maneuver into the end zone, and just like that, Iowa State on the board.
You said cool, calm, collected, and you said Matt Campbell. I thought you were going to use those adjectives to describe Rocco Beck. You talk to Rocco Beck. You talk about Rocco Beck. You hear about Rocco Beck. All you hear is that he's calmest when things are the most chaotic. Down 17, up 17, first quarter, fourth quarter. Rocco Beck is as cool as the other side of the pillow.
A 28-second drive spanning 75 yards. The old swinging gate back in play for the Cyclones. They scored on a two-point conversion out of that formation on the first touchdown of the game last week at home against Arizona. Conventional place kicking situation to make it 17-7. Chase Smith, a walk-on kicker, and a true freshman, and the Cyclones and Matt Campbell on the board for the first time and back in business.
It felt like this was the response that was needed. It's going to be a quarterback power, really two pullers coming back, so a quarterback counter because there's two guys coming back, and Rocco Beck barely gets touched. He has that little bit of hesitation that allows time for the pullers to come around and allows the linebackers to be a little bit slowed down. That's how he's able to get to the end zone so easily.
His offensive coordinator, Taylor Mauser, the great quote earlier in the season about Rocco Beck, and he basically, well, he did in fact call him a psychopath. He's nails with the game on the line. When everybody's losing their mind, Rocco Beck is purely calm. And it almost works in Iowa State's favor at times when they're trailing or when they're facing adversity with that quarterback head coach combination.
That's what you want, Roy. If you're a team, you're going to face adversity regardless. You want a guy that you feel like he's going to be okay in the midst of said adversity.
You've never called me a psychopath, have you?
I've thought it. I haven't said it out loud.
Thank you.
Until now, I guess.
And he meant it in the best way possible. Taylor Moser, the offensive play caller. Logan Wilson with a seam and a nice run, still on his feet. Wilson, a shoestring tackle at the 45. Let's go back to the studio and Kevin Connors.
Sam is discreet like that, by the way. AT&T is keeping fans connected with our multi-view over on ABC. Kentucky back in the game thanks to a Josh Caddis touchdown catch. Clemson taking it to UNC. Cade Klubnik, a pair of touchdown passes. And on ESPN Plus, Avery Johnson, a touchdown run. K-State is on top of Baylor.
Kevin, thank you for the vote of confidence as well. Interesting as Pittsburgh has benched Eli Holstein, and now a freshman quarterback gets the start against Boston College today for Pat Narduzzi. So a lot of moving parts to start this always entertaining early October slate. Evan Pryor. Boy, just chunks of yards on the ground for the Bearcats, whether it's Pryor, Walker, or Sorsby so far.
Or Joe Cotton, the starting left tackle, who's pulling around to make this play. Look at it, left tackle pulling, making a critical block, putting Nick Reineke on his backside.
You know, Cotton's a redshirt junior. You would love to see his eyes on that pull. He was feasting. Man-to-man coverage and incomplete. Caleb Goody had a step in the pass 5 yards over his head.
That's the second overthrow we've seen from Brendan Sorsby. Yes, the running game has been outstanding, but if he wants to really seal this game and close this game off early, he's got to be a little bit more calm with his feet in the pocket to deliver those deep passes.
Sorsby with 18 passing first downs a week ago on the road at Kansas. Spent all spring and summer on campus trying to get better for his head coach Scott Satterfield. Isaiah Johnson goes in motion, and he picked up the football in the process. Johnson to the edge. Isaiah Johnson inside the 15.
So when you drop a pop pass, this is exactly what you would hope. Receiver coming across in motion, pop pass, right? You have an outside linebacker, defensive end, a body that can't catch you. Then the great blocking downfield by your tight end. You want to get these little fast guys on the edges of defenses to make big plays like that.
Pryor, the running back, on first down in the red zone. Another touch. Pryor cuts it back against the grain into the end zone. Yes! The Bearcats have been simply unstoppable to start.
You want people who can do it all. Joe Royer, number 11, he scored that touchdown earlier. Look at him. That's called a stop block. Just stay on your guy just enough to let running back Evan Pryor do the rest. This is clinic real when it comes to tight end play, when it comes to stretch and outside zone execution for the offense.
Bearcats playing like the undefeated team thus far, and perhaps deserving of a top 25 national ranking if a score like this holds today. Rusnak back on the field. He's been perfect for 2 years. His extra points have been tremendous. On point, if you will. 24-7 our new score. 13:40 to go in that. They're 600+ yards their last 2 games already, with 262 on the board today, with a lot of football left to be played. Cyclones will get it back after the touchback at their own 25. As we take a look at today's More Than a Home team, brought to you by Cracker Barrel. Places and faces. Nippert Stadium, the place to be, and with so many brand new facilities being constructed here in the last year, opening a brand new practice facility, and the guys led by their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby, getting ready to go for this massive tilt in the Big 12. Winner of this game, by the way, stays undefeated in the league and very well positioned with teams like Texas Tech, BYU, and a host of others. There's some contact and no flag with Chase Sowell back on the field. So a good sign for head coach Matt Campbell that Sowell is still healthy enough to go.
And a better sign for defensive coordinator Tyson Veit, because Matthew McDoom, number 0, the 5'9" corner, had an outstanding job in coverage. Last week, first deep shot, he got beat for an 80+ yard touchdown. Now McDoom, the transfer, is playing a lot more sound.
If you didn't know any better, it feels like McDoom is one of the best football names on the planet this season. More on that in a moment. Here's Beck, play action, backside pressure. He got rid of it in time to Cyrus Allen. And not much happening to the 28. Stopped by Matthew McDoom.
I love it. You said his name. It's a scary name. But if you talk to the guy, he's like a nice guy. Watch him doing interviews. He's a calm, cool, collected individual. But this situation, 3rd and 6. Cincinnati has all the momentum. Let's see how calm, cool, and collected Rocco Beck will be, and if Cincinnati will bring a little bit more pressure.
Beck with time, looking for his running back. And out of bounds goes Carson Hansen. Enough for the first down to the 40-yard line. Well, it took a minute for that play to develop, but Beck was patient, and Hansen pays it off.
It turned into essentially an empty set. Hansen was out of the backfield. He just released quickly, got that first down.
Well, Abu Sama, Carson Hansen, both impressive to start this season. Hansen again tripped up after a gain of 9 by McDoom. Close to midfield go the Cyclones.
Anything you can do, I can do better. We're seeing that stretch and outside zone from Iowa State now. So it's almost like that Spider-Man meme. They're looking at one another. Let's see if the running game can get activated for Iowa State.
Hansen again will pick up the first into plus territory. Minnesota native, 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year. In his home state, had offers from Kansas State and Northwestern. And Rocco Beck very pleased with his addition going back 2 seasons ago. It's a developmental program, and Matt Campbell still talks about that to this day. They'll bring in their players. Sam, they recruit their players that play 4 or 5 different positions. They'll grow them up in the weight room and on the field. How about an old school I formation set? Sama, the toss sweep to the edge. And a brief lane closes quickly. inside the 45 down to the 42, and the tackle by Sims. It's a gain of 5.
One thing I'm noticing, Roy, is both of these offenses are avoiding the middle of the defense. Dante Corleone, number 2 in the middle, is a dominant football player. They're not running up there because they can't get past him. So they're trying to attack the edges of the defenses in order to avoid some of the best players, arguably the best player of this Cincinnati D.
Tyson Veit made no bones about it. He is our best player. Play action over B, right at the line to gain. That'll move the chains. And McDoom, the tackle, that timing route executed brilliantly between Beck, Dominic Overby.
This receiver core for Iowa State is a receiver by committee approach. Whether it's Sowell or Townsend, Eskelson, and now we're seeing Overby step up. They all play multiple positions, so it gives them more opportunity to make more plays.
Five minutes into the second quarter on first down. Sama still on his feet. The spin, a flag comes in. Close to another first down for the Cyclones. Let's check the penalty. Tyler Moore slow to his feet. And this one going against Iowa State.
Illegal block in the back. 0 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
That's on Chase Sowell. Our referee today, Kevin Boitman, leading this veteran officiating crew out of the Big 12.
What's that, the 5th penalty for Iowa State, Roy, for a team that historically under Matt Campbell doesn't make a lot of mistakes? Those need to be cleaned up, especially with the score the way it is.
You asked Coach Campbell a great question this week about what it takes in Ames to win games. We have to be elite on special teams, he said, relentless on defense, and mistake-free on offense. It hasn't happened so far today. Underneath, Xavier Townsend. A short gain on first down. Gola Collard, the tackle, transfer from Southern Utah.
The reason why, Roy, is that in Iowa State, you may not be getting the 5-star recruits from all over the country. Oftentimes, you're getting 3 stars and 4 stars. Remember when Breece Hall came, he was one of the bigger recruits as the recruiting cycle began to begin. So you have to be more sound when you're not the most physically gifted.
Longest drive of the game for the Cyclones, now on play number 9. Townsend upended at the 35. Christian Harrison, the form tackle. It'll be third down.
Another critical third down. Rocco Becht.
The noise in Nippert is back. Sowell went in motion. Beck's going to be harassed. Keeps the play alive and then gets walloped at the 40. Coleman brought him down, and Beck slow to his feet. And you know that targeting is going to be in play here.
So first, Rocco Becht, it seems like it's going to be a face mask in the middle. And then 31, Simeon Coleman is just tracking him as Becht is trying to get his head back around.
And his dad, Anthony Becht.
There are 2 fouls in the play, both against the defense. Personal foul, face mask, number 55 in the defense. Personal foul, targeting, number 31 with the helmet, defense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced. Play is under further review.
So that targeting penalty, Roy, notice what the referee said. He said targeting with the helmet, crown of the helmet. The reason why that matters is that Rocco Becht in that situation was not a defenseless receiver, or defenseless individual. He wasn't a quarterback in a passing posture, he was a runner. So the only type of targeting that can be enforced is targeting with the crown of the helmet, meaning that number 31, Simeon Coleman, would have had to lower his head and make that forcible contact. They talk about a 6-inch radius from the very top of the helmet, so that's what they're looking at. Did that head lower? And is there forcible contact? The crown is what they talk about, the very top. Imagine like you put your finger at the very top of your head. That's the crown of the helmet. And the 6-inch radius goes about 6 inches down to the side, to the front. That's what they're trying to evaluate. Was it the crown of the helmet, or was it more of that face mask area?
Our replay official, Rick Lumiere, in collaboration with Replay Operations, the center in Dallas. And a lot to unpack here. For now, the ball is moved inside the 20 down to the 19.
After further review, the ruling of targeting with the crown of the helmet is upheld. Number 31 is disqualified from the game.
So impactful across multiple levels, with Coleman, the starting weak side linebacker, now disqualified. The two penalties on what potentially could have been a drive-ending play near the line of scrimmage against Rocco Becht. Now the Cyclones have it 1st and 10, and also the status of Becht himself after absorbing that kind of collision. Alex Mansky, the new Iowa State quarterback. And he motions out to the bottom of the screen on essentially a wildcat play. Sama over the right edge. Certainly concern on the Iowa State sideline. Rocco Becht, however, racing to get back on the field. And exactly what you would expect with a player with that grit, that determination, and that toughness.
And the C, you see that C on his chest? He's a captain of the team. He doesn't want his team to be out without him for too much longer.
And now the interchange. Alex Mansky checks in. Becht back to the sideline for a moment. And a chance maybe for him to collect his thoughts. And a timeout called. So a lot to unpack. The health of Rocco Becht first and foremost. Iowa State does have its second and medium in the red zone. And another score to get right back in it. Bigger picture. Cyclones have to find a way to slow down Brendan Sorsby. But for Rocco Becht and his head coach Matt Campbell, you go back to last week, the end of the game against Arizona in the fourth quarter at the very start. Banged his head on the turf on that play. Left the game only to return. I'm not sure that he was the same player after that return, but at that point, Sam, it didn't matter. The outcome of the game had been decided.
The game was over, but then you start thinking about the next game and the next play. Rocco Becht took a huge hit last week, now another huge hit this week. As much as he wants to get back in the game, they may not either run him as much when he gets back in there or make different decisions as he returns.
Mansky will run it on second down, absorbs big contact again. At the line of scrimmage, Jalen Hunt. And number 90 with a bear hug, the Michigan State transfer.
Roy, as we see Rocco Becht taking the field again, if you want an example of how gritty this guy is, he ran to the medical tent and was high-fiving guys on his way to get evaluated. He wasn't in there very long, came running out with his helmet, as you saw, immediately onto the field. This guy is a fighter.
Taylor, thank you. It's 3rd and 5. Empty backfield. Here's Rocco Becht. More pressure. Stays alive. On his feet, but not for long. Lassoed behind the line of scrimmage by Jalen Hunt again.
Jalen Hunt keeps on showing up. 6'2", 315, fifth-year senior. And Rocco Becht takes another hit.
Back to the sidelines. Chase Smith on for a field goal attempt from 35. Remember, Kyle Conrady, injured Iowa State kicker, means that Smith, the walk-on, has been the guy. Right hash from 35, and Smith missed it. Bearcats get a stop, and the football back, leading by 17 after this. Historic Nippert Stadium. They've been playing football here since 1901, a 17-point lead, and it's also home to two of the best players the NFL has seen. About the Kelsey brothers, the world champions going back in the day. Their time here in the Queen City, the tight end and the center, winning a couple of world titles with the Chiefs and also the Eagles. And wouldn't you know it, Monday Night Football, we'll see both of those personalities, including Jason Kelly, part of the coverage at ESPN, and Travis Kelce, of course, still the starting tight end for Patrick Mahomes. And the Kansas City Chiefs on the road at the Jacksonville Jaguars, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app. Peyton and Eli again on ESPN2. Bearcats get it back on first down. Dominic Overby, his 5th reception, and wrapped up quickly by Quentin Taylor Jr. Iowa State trailing by 17, and Sam, needless to say, the Cyclones want to get a rare stop on defense here.
They don't want to, Roy. They need to. They must get a stop because they've been getting pushed around defensively all game long. Got a good chance to rest over the last several minutes while their offense was on the field, but somebody's got to step up and make a play.
5-man front, weaving through traffic. Howie Walker, and he's going to pick up a first down. Well, on the ground, we mentioned the yards coming in chunks, whether it's Walker or Evan Pryor. Pryor has scored 2 touchdowns in the same game for the first time in his career today. They both have been imposing their will on this Iowa State D. Walker. And dropped by Ebel. The drive chart tells the entire story here. 4 possessions, 4 scores.
And it's been easy. Everything has worked. The outside, they haven't even had to go to their second or third option. It's been outside zone and play action. Haven't even implemented the speed option, which they have in their arsenal. So that's how easy it's been.
RPO to Cyrus Allen on the edge on 2nd and short. Needed 3, he'll pick up 4. Let's see where they spotted him out of bounds. Hold on. It is enough for the first.
It's been all run game. As much as Sorsby's leading the charge, she hasn't had to do much of anything just yet. A couple overthrows, but hand the ball off. It's been quarterback run game. And if I'm Cincinnati, I stick to it because Iowa State can't stop it right now.
Now the poise of Sorsby since Nebraska on full display. He'll take what the defense gives him again. And Joe Royer, the modest gain on first down.
Watch how much time that Brennan Sorsby has. It's a 3-man rush. Ends up really trying to be a 4-man rush. And he hasn't been pressured all game long. I understand the type of defense you run, a 3-3-5. You may not get as much pressure, but somebody has to be able to win either from the inside at nose, Dom Orange, or from the outside.
Dom Orange, a.k.a. Big Citrus, has not been a factor yet. 2nd down run towards midfield by Pryor. Brings up 3rd down. We'll go back to what Brad Glenn told us, the offensive coordinator for Scott Satterfield this week. He said he wanted Brendan Sorsby to be a triple threat quarterback. And we said, Coach, what do you mean? And he said, well, it's his arm, it's his legs, and it's his mind. Making those correct decisions and not putting the ball in risky situations. He's done that so far today. From the 49, they need 3. They'll get more. Allen, first down. Tumbling out of bounds near the 41.
Marcus Neal with the missed tackle, but Brendan Sorsby is just having his way. The problem with this defense is that it's 3rd and 3. Everyone's playing 5, 6, 7, and 8 yards off. You can't be that far off on a 3rd and short. You have to play tighter in coverage and understand the down and distance. I know what the defense may tell you to do, but just tighten up a little bit based off of the situation.
Now they'll run the reverse and send it back to Sorsby. Looking long, here comes pressure. And wisely sails it out of bounds. A little trickeration near midfield. 2nd and 10, 3 minutes to go in the half.
And we've seen an Iowa State defense that hasn't looked like they've looked all season long. And why do you say that? Well, Jontez Williams, their star cornerback, got injured last week. He had an interception last week. And so not only is he one of their star players, but he's also the vocal leader of the team. He's not on the sideline. He wasn't able to travel with the team. He just had his surgery. So not only are you missing the on-field production, but you're missing the off-field encouragement for that Iowa State defense.
It's a big deal to lose 2 starting corners within the span of 2 weeks. Both thought to be 2 of the best in the Big 12 this season. Walker pushes ahead again for a first. Inside the 30.
Tommy is almost towering over this defense. No, he's not the biggest guy. He's 5'8", but watch him lower his shoulder time in and time out and stay on his feet. People talk about contact balance. Why that matters is that it's not 2nd and 8. Now it's 1st and 10, and the physical mentality is leaning and weighing on that defense. Look at all the defensive linemen. Hands on hips, taking a knee. You could see the weight of this running attack.
Nearly 200 yards rushing already and counting for Cincinnati. Ball popped out. It came out late. Surgis with the tackle. Bearcats maintain possession. So we've reached our 2-minute timeout. The lead at 17. Will it grow here at the end of the first half? Cincinnati on the front door of the red zone when we return. Back at Nippert Stadium, a 17-point lead for Cincinnati against 14th-ranked Iowa State on 2nd and 9. Sorsby gets absolutely demolished by Carson Willick. So Willick returns the favor after getting trucked earlier in the half by a Cincinnati running back.
That's what we've been waiting for, right?
Kevin Connor's a champion worldwide in our regard as well. Samacho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Carson Willick, a big collision moments ago with Brendan Sorsby to create 3rd down and long. And the Cyclones have yet to record that stop against this potent Cincinnati attack in this game. Can they do it here?
It's a critical 3rd down, Roy, because if you get a stop and you score, Iowa State will get the ball to start the 2nd half. So for Iowa State, getting off the field here is of the utmost importance.
Bearcats need 7. Do have the Mr. Automatic place kicker on the comeback. Falling down at the 20. Going to be spotted about a half-yard shy. Noah Jennings will gain 6 on 3rd down and 7. Now, Scott Satterfield admitted to us they're going to be aggressive today. It's in their DNA. It's what they do. It's part of their brand. They're perfect on 4th down this season. Pryor is the running back. Sorsby will keep it into the end zone. He'll high step in for the score.
I saw something, Coach. Like that's one of those plays where it's like, what were you doing? I saw something. That was supposed to be a handoff. And Sorsby saw that if it would have been a handoff, would have been tackled. He said, you know what? I saw something, Coach. I'm going to go make a play.
There's something about Brendan Sorsby starting to figure things out as the offense finds its rhythm. And a different gear this time against a ranked opponent within the friendly confines of the Big 12. And we saw this from Brendan last year.
I love the decision by Sorsby. He cuts back to where no one is. The play's supposed to be going to the other side. He looks around, looks left, looks right. No one else is there. And he extends the lead even more.
5 possessions for the Cincinnati Bearcats. 5 scores to start against a team in Iowa State that has not lost a football game this season, and in fact had only trailed for 28 seconds the entire year before today.
But a team in Cincinnati that's building confidence. We heard from the entire coaching staff that it's not just a dream anymore. We believe that we can win games like these, not lose games like these. So you're seeing the level of confidence that is building as the game is continuing on.
31-7. Sam, we've seen some great quarterbacks in this league and outside of the Big 12 this year. Sorsby has found a new level. And you think about this conference and the start that Texas Tech has gotten off to. Iowa State before today. BYU's a part of that mix. And here comes Cincinnati, partying like it's 2021. The year the Bearcats made a run to the college football playoff, and now Rocco Becht back on the field, and what a day it's been for him for a number of different reasons, Sam. He has been under pressure from the jump.
It hasn't looked pretty for Becht. A couple misses, a couple times where he's gotten some big hits that he's received. So he's got to be able to get on track and get on track early in a 2-minute situation.
Into the medical tent, out of the medical tent, high-fiving his teammates, and now back on the field. Cyclones with one timeout to work with. Becht wants to throw it on first. Has his man, and it's Ben Bramer, the tight end, with his first reception of the game, and a penalty marker comes into the 49. So a gain of 22 and a good start this Cyclones possession.
We were talking in the break, Roy, man, what happened to the tight ends? Bramer and Burkle, we haven't heard a lot about them early on in this game. I think Iowa State understood that as well and designed a play for Benjamin Bramer.
Personal foul. Targeting with the crown of the helmet. Number 6 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. The play is under further review.
Trayvon Gola-Collard. We've already seen Simeon Coleman be disqualified for targeting earlier in this quarter.
So we already had our lesson earlier. Okay, targeting with the crown of the helmet. It's that 6-inch radius from the very top of the helmet. To me, that's not crown of the helmet. That's the side of the helmet. He does look like he lowers his head, but he hits Bramer with the side of his helmet, not the crown of the helmet. So that's the difference in a play like this. That contact is more incidental, not intentional, not the crown of the helmet. I wish we had like a voting, like I wish people could vote on, is this targeting or is it not targeting?
At times, it feels like it can get to be subjective, but in certain situations where the checklist is complete, you can identify exactly what's happening. And I think in that first call earlier in the quarter, you absolutely nailed it.
Call for targeting on the play. The play results in a first down.
And the second sequence,
15-yard penalty will not be enforced.
you also nailed. So you're batting 1,000 a day, Sam. We look forward to you continuing that streak in the second half.
Did I make the playoffs though? Like, am I with? Am I? Aaron Judge? Or on the Yankee? Who are we? Who are we supporting? Right? The Phillies. What's our team?
My team was eliminated. I want them all to lose. First down and 10 for the Cyclones. 61 ticks of the clock left in the half. Playoffs have been exciting. Rocco Becht escapes. Becht into Cincinnati territory. How big is this drive? Obviously needing points, but Iowa State gets the football to start the third quarter.
Rocco Becht is his best when things are the craziest. This drive is huge because it's momentum at the end of the first half.
Gain of 6. Second down and 4. Hansen the give. And Hansen out of bounds. Cyclones with one timeout remaining. Shoved out of the 40 by Logan Wilson.
Little thing, but big thing. Smart play by Carson Hansen getting out of bounds. He was about at the numbers. He could have cut it upfield, but he understood there's only one timeout left, so he got out of bounds, stopped the clock, and kept time for his offense.
Becht has now completed his last 6 passes. In rhythm. Off the spin. Pass Corral to the 24.
Next level play.
Brings it in.
Next level play, sorry about that, Roy, by Rocco Becht. Watch him. He's going to look off the DB.
Play for
Illegal shift. The flag snuck in there. 27 seconds to go.
Yeah, he was lined up as a receiver, Roy, lined up out wide, Carson Hansen, and he was looking out to see what the play was, so he motioned in. But things are crazy, right? First and 15, 27 seconds left, down by a bunch, one timeout. Let's see what Rocco Beck has.
And remember the kicker, Chase Smith, a walk-on, missed a 35-yard attempt earlier in this quarter. Crossing pattern. And out of bounds, ushered out near the 36, Eskelson. So 14 seconds to go, and Iowa State preserving the timeout as the receiver jumped out of bounds after a gain of 9.
It gets really difficult in situations like these because you have a kicker who's a freshman who was a quarterback in high school, right? That's the situation Iowa State has. So
Beck straight ahead, now delivers. Last second delivery inside the red zone. Eskelson again. Well, a first down for the Cyclones. 7 seconds to go, a gain of 17. And I believe Matt Campbell will use his timeout here. All right, 7 seconds left. Do you take a shot?
I lean no. Generally speaking, here's what I mean by that. Most plays usually take about 7 seconds. So generally speaking, you don't want to take a shot because you might be out of time. But there's two situations going on. You have a kicker who missed a field goal, who's a freshman, who's like third string, and you have a quarterback who's smart. So in most situations, I don't. But in this situation, I'd be willing to tell Rocco, hey, man, we got 7 seconds. You got one read, throw it or throw it out of bounds. It's just a very, very risky play because most coaches will tell you you do not want to run a play with 7 seconds left because time will run out.
And remember, Chase Smith missed his only attempt from 35 earlier today. From here would be about a 36-yarder.
I wish we could take a poll on that, too. I want the fans at home to be like, what would you do in this situation?
I'm taking a shot.
You're taking a shot?
I mean, field goals aren't going to win a game like this in a comeback fashion. Down 24, you score a touchdown at the end of the half, plus you get possession to start the third quarter. That would be a huge shift in momentum, potentially. Beck can ill afford to take a sack here, and he's got to hurry. Betts pats the ball, now delivers, hand fighting and intercepted. There is a flag at the goal line, and bringing it back is McDoom to the 40. Sam, the hand fighting, there was a lot of contact, and you wonder, was there too much for McDoom?
Yeah, you don't have to wonder. That was a pretty obvious one. Matthew McDoom was pulling, grabbing, holding on that play. It's going to be pass interference.
I have one more question after the announcement.
Ooh, I can read lips. He said he pulled him. I was right. So he had to vote again.
Meanwhile, an injured Cyclone back towards midfield, needing assistance.
Pass interference. Number 0, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. The half to be extended for an on-time down.
So let's see where the football
There's
is
also
marked.
a sideline warning on Cincinnati. There is no penalty associated with the warning.
So my next question, Sam, one more untimed down at the end of the half. If you're Matt Campbell, he loves to go for it on 4th down. This will have a similar vibe to it as the football will be spotted all the way down. It appears near the 4.
Yeah, at this point with the momentum, I think you do go for it. You're inside your own 5-yard line. You have an opportunity with a trusted quarterback to potentially activate his legs as well. Good decision.
Rocco Beck loves his tight ends in moments like this. Ben Bramer, Gabe Burkle. And Cincinnati will call a timeout.
So this play is created by Matthew McDoom, who's in one-on-one coverage. You can see the height difference. His hands are fine here, but that ball's in the air, and there was a little bit of a pull right before that ball was received by McDoom. Dominic Overby was the receiver. But there's a little bit of a tug that got Overby off balance.
A very little bit. And for Iowa State, they will take it now. One play, barring a penalty, to get into the end zone. An untimed down here at the end of the half becomes everything, especially for Iowa State.
I wonder, who do you go to in a situation like these? We haven't like this. We haven't heard much of the tight ends. You know they love the quarterback run game. I lean, give Rocco Becht an opportunity to have the ball in his hand, and if the pass isn't available, let him make something happen with his legs.
First and goal, out of time in the first half. Cyclones need it. Empty backfield for Becht. He'll take off straight ahead. A-gap diving ahead, and he's there for the touchdown. Every inch was needed by the veteran quarterback, Rocco Becht.
Talk about want to. You got a quarterback, 6 feet, a little over 200, taking on a linebacker, Jack Dingle, in the middle of the hole. They talk about Oklahoma drill. Man, give me Rocco Becht.
Sam, how about staying parallel to the ground, hand on the turf, and then reaching ahead towards the goal line? They're going to take a look at it. Of course, every play is reviewed, but nothing we've seen suggests that that should be overturned. And the balance, the athleticism. Remember, he left the field earlier in the quarter after a targeting penalty was called on Coleman, and he came back running out of the medical tent, giving his teammates high fives. To have the chance to produce plays like this.
That's extension. That's perfection when it comes to a play like that. His elbows off the ground, knees are off the ground, forearms off the ground, but he uses that hand to keep himself elevated to have that ball cross the plane, that front plane of the end zone.
Tyler Mauser, the offensive play caller, we mentioned it earlier, called Rocco Becht a psychopath. He's at his best when the world is against him, when the adversity hits, when nobody thinks that he can do it. Rocco Becht enters the chat and finds a way to produce.
Yeah, I talked to someone with the team earlier today on the field, and he said, Rocco is a rock.
After further review, the ruling of a touchdown is upheld. The try will be played from the 3-yard line.
61 yards in 6 plays. Keep an eye on the extra point try here. Iowa State, with a swinging gate, has done some things early in the season. They get the look that they want.
And it looks like this time they're actually just going to keep their offense on the field. They're not going to do any of the trickeration. The game has changed. They need these points.
Rocco Becht back on as a quarterback. Abu Sama, the running back. And a timeout call before the snap. Taylor, what do you have?
Well, you mentioned the psychopath line, and we just got to go back to that, because I did ask Rocco Becht this week what his interpretation of it was, and he said, look, coming from a guy like Taylor Mauser, you consider it a compliment. He said, just to be clear, I don't act like a psychopath. I'm just wired differently. When my back is against the wall, I feel I'm at my best, and they are going to need that from him in the second half. Sam, you asked me what the energy was like down here on the Iowa State sideline. Not gonna lie, it's lacked a little bit of juice, and you have to wonder, with guys like Williams and Cooper not down here, it's going to require a bit more from guys like Rocco, but he certainly has the juice in the tank to provide for his team. But psychopath is a term of endearment in Ames.
Well, I love the point you made, Taylor, because people talk and they say, man, his leadership is off the charts. He's laser focused. Okay, but now, new situation. Now it's not the offense. Now it's that special teams unit. I heard it may be a pass to the right. Let's see if they kept it.
They will snap it, and they'll send it backwards. There's the pass. And in the back corner of the end zone, corralled for the 2-point conversion. It's Ben Bramer from Major Cantrell on the final play of an incredibly entertaining first half. It's now a 2-score game.
You got Major Cantrell, number 14. He's your 4th-string quarterback. But what's most impressive to me about this play is you needed every bit of that 6'7" frame of Ben Bramer to make that catch. Great pass, but a better catch by Benjamin Bramer.
At 31-15, a two-score game at halftime. And our first 30 minutes dominated by Cincinnati. The second half should be sensational, right? And the Cyclones set to receive the second half kickoff after a touchdown at the end of the second quarter. Made this a two-score affair after the two-point conversion. ESPN College Football presented by Tums, which turned out to be a spectacular Saturday afternoon in Cincinnati. Sam Acho, Roy Philpott, Taylor Davis. And you get the sense if Iowa State finds a way into the end zone right now, this game becomes frantic to start the half.
Iowa State is a resilient football team, but this drive is going to mean everything. If you get that score at the end of the first half and another one to start the second half, that's that middle eight that everyone talks about. It builds a momentum back in Iowa State's favor.
Now Rocco Becht left the field after a targeting call in the second quarter. Raced into the medical tent. And then, Sam, I believe he thought he was cleared to go back on the playing surface before he realized he wasn't. He was on the field. Matt Campbell said not so fast. And he brought back in his backup, Alex Mansky. But now to start the third, Becht is ready to roll. Undefeated Iowa State on the road. Boy, they fake the run. The pass is dropped by Sama. Abu Sama in the seam was open.
That was a next level play call. There's been so much quarterback run, quarterback power. That exact play Iowa State ran earlier, and off the quarterback power with those two pullers, they had Sama running wide open down the seam. Unfortunately, he was not able to bring it down, but that's what we mean by getting to the next level of offenses. They show you one thing, and they do a different thing.
Sama now flanking Becht. After motioning in, he'll get a touch. A nifty move to get to the edge across the 35, and that's a first down. Now the missed tackle by Logan Wilson, a big deal there, and Iowa State will take it.
Logan Wilson, number 7 for Cincinnati, one of the captains, one of the leaders. He's the edge of the defense. He has to be the guy to make that play. Abu Sama says, you know what, I'm going to stick you inside and then go outside with a little bit of a stiff arm. No edge, no chance. Logan Wilson did not make the play. Abu Sama made him pay.
Sama again. Third straight play designed for number 24, Dante Corleone. Ate him up after a 1-yard pickup. Well, Corleone's been battling that high ankle sprain. We didn't see him last week at Kansas. One of those injuries that once you get it, Sam, they just never tend to go away.
Yeah, those are the most frustrating injuries. A high ankle sprain could be 2 weeks, could be 6 weeks. I was at the facility earlier today, and I was walking by the locker room. I saw him getting that ankle taped, and I was like, oh, it's Dante Corleone. I was like, no, that's a Godfather. Let me stay away. Let me not say hi to this guy. He's very intimidating.
Be careful. He is. Dylan Lee on the field for Iowa State. And back across the middle, Gabe Burkle to midfield. It'll be third and short. Jake Golday brought him down.
First time we've heard the name Burkle today, one of their star tight ends, one of the leading receivers when it comes to receptions. Third and short. It's been a lot of quarterback run in this situation. I wouldn't be afraid to show QB run and maybe run a pass over the top because you know you're going to go for it on fourth down.
Beck will keep it and get crunched. Needed a yard, he'll pick up 2, and that'll move the sticks. Now Rocco Becht, always an exciting player, a veteran quarterback with his 33rd start today. And this was the play, the targeting foul. Coleman was disqualified into the medical tent, then back out. He wasn't cleared yet. They put him back on the field, and then on first and goal with no time left on the clock, Becht on an untimed down, reaching the end zone. What could be the play of this game if Iowa State gets back in it. Time. Sails one deep, and the pass will be deflected by Golday. Now Golday read that one beautifully, otherwise it's a first down.
That was a great play by Jake Golday. So you're a curl flat player, meaning you need to be about 12 to 14 yards. Look at him at the edge of your screen. He has to get depth, and watch, he runs perfectly in unison with that tight end. He initially played the run, which is your initial responsibility, but your job as a curl flat player is to get depth. And so Golday getting depth made that play.
Tyson Veit told us he's unbelievably fast and furious. Jake Golday. 2nd and 10. Busama to the 45. Monte Whedon stopped him after a gain of 3. It's going to be 3rd and 7.
Did he really say it like that, like Fast and Furious? Or was it Furious and Fast? That's like a movie reference, you know what I mean? Like, it was like he's furious, but also fast.
Tyson Vite is very savvy. Four-man front for the Bearcats. Beck heaves it, pass, corralled. That's a first down. Xavier Townsend inside the 30.
We talked about that kind of curl flat zone coverage. Well, there was another curl flat defender there in Logan Wilson, and Rocco Beck places this ball in a perfect position to keep Wilson from making that play. So that was a very savvy move by Rocco Beck, placing that ball a little bit on the inside in order to not run his receiver right into coverage.
It's a gain of 17 on 3rd and 7, and the timing of Rocco Beck, the rhythm of this offense starting to take shape. Townsend in motion. Busama. Gain of 1, that's it. Micah Coleman met him right at the line of scrimmage.
Roy, one thing I expect this offense to do is to go back to a play like that, but instead of giving it to Sama, run action back to the left side. Why? Because Cincinnati's defense, they played that play, but there's a second part of the play that is available to be made. So as coaches are up in the booth, they're watching what defenses do. Yeah, it looked like a win for the defense, but the next level is going to be available.
Bramer motions out, bottom of the screen for Rocco Beck. Loves his 2 tight ends this season. And sitting down is Gabe Burkle. Now the pass is incomplete. Now 3rd and 9. No, Iowa State, the only team in the country, has its top 2 receivers both playing at the tight end position, and now Nippert Noyes returns. Cyclones have converted twice on 3rd down on this drive. And here's Beck, long throw. Townsend inside the 25. Stopped by Harrison. The 4th down at about 6, trailing by 16.
And I expect the offense to stay on the field, mainly because they have a kicker situation. A kicker who's a freshman, who's a walk-on. Their starting 2 kickers are injured. So it's not just because of the points, it's also because of the personnel.
0 for 1 on 4th down today. Perfect this season before this game today. Here's Beck. Contact. There's a penalty flag from the back of the end zone. It comes flying in at the last minute. Chase Sowell on the crosser with Sanks in coverage.
Holding. Number 6, defense. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Gola Collard.
So you see it right in the middle of your field, and that's what the backfield judge is looking at, that holding of the hip. The holding of the hip, that was actually number 9, Jaquan Sanks, who held him. He's a star, middle of the field. Roy, you got it right. That's what the referee saw. So as a DB, you got to make sure your hands aren't on those hips when the receiver's coming out of his break.
1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. Cyclones with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, potentially make it a 1-score game. Flag comes in. Whedon makes the tackle, and Sama just keeps driving those legs. Impossible to bring down. Uncharacteristic of Iowa State today with the penalties.
Illegal formation. 5 players in the backfield, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3-play first down.
That's our 6th penalty of the game, Roy. A team that's 3rd in college football when it comes to not having penalties, one of the least penalized teams. And now they're hurting themselves. The team that can't afford to hurt themselves is nearly double their average in penalty yards.
First and 15. So that negates the 8-yard run. Power set. Beck wants to run it. To the original line of scrimmage, 2nd down and 10 coming.
I've been impressed, Roy, by the fact that despite the big hits last week and even this week, Rocco Beck seems unfazed, even unchanged. There's no doubt, no hesitation. He's determined to continue to do what he does best, which is find ways to win.
Methodical drive to start. Balanced attack, 6 passes, 6 runs. Our offensive play caller, Taylor Mauser. And head coach Matt Campbell. Here's Beck. Dumps it off across the middle, and a big hit at the 11. Jake Golday on Eskelson.
Jay Golday is not the guy you want to meet if you're a receiver running across the middle. He's 6'4", 240, physical hit. But I love how Eskelson just hops up. He's like, nope, you didn't hit me, I'm good. Mental game.
Third down and 8. Cyclones 3 of 7 on third so far. Here's Beck. Front pylon. Pass is caught. Was he in bounds with possession? Yes. Brett Eskelson into the end zone. And his 2nd touchdown of the year. And the Cyclones, 2 touchdowns on their last 2 possessions.
Vic Fangio, who's an NFL defensive coordinator for the Eagles, he says, man, you could have perfect coverage, but even if you have a perfect coverage, a better pass cannot be stopped. I played for Vic in Chicago. I'm like, Coach, what do you do in a situation like that? He's like, sorry, man, like that was a perfect pass. So it doesn't matter how great your coverage is. Sometimes they're just better.
Surprise Iowa State isn't going for the 2-point conversion here. It would make it a 1-score game. Still a lot of time left, obviously, so you throw the book out the window. At least that's what Matt Campbell's thinking about already. 1 2-point conversion today, and Smith, with the point after, slices that Cincinnati advantage down to 9. 31-22. Back here at Nippert Stadium, the ensuing kickoff after the Iowa State 7-minute scoring drive. Logan Wilson still on his feet into ISU territory. And the Bearcats in position to respond to back-to-back scoring drives by the Cyclones.
This is a field return, so the ball's going to be kicked short and to one side, but they're going to run not to the sideline, but to the field. Great job by Logan Wilson setting up his blockers, and then great job by all the frontline players staying on their blocks and not having a penalty on the return. 2nd big return by captain Logan Wilson.
And a return of 37. Feels like it's been about 2 hours since we've seen Sorsby on the field. And now set up with this kind of field position. Let's see if the Bearcats want to be aggressive. Evan Pryor in at running back, quickly corralled. Earlier, Taylor Davis caught up with head coach Scott Satterfield for the Bearcats.
Coach, over 200 rushing yards in the first half. What's been working so well for your offense?
Yeah, I think just in rhythm right now. Sorsby's playing good, converting first downs, and the running backs are running extremely hard. O-line's playing good. You know, we got a lot more we got to do in the second half for sure, though.
Thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, back to the ground, Taylor. And we continue to see chunks of yardage. Evan Pryor again. 3rd down and short.
We haven't seen a lot of Sorsby run action. This play doesn't specifically look like a quarterback run.
Well, Brad Glenn told us this week, 3rd down, red zone, Sorsby and those legs. Pins on the look. 6-man box. We'll run the option. Late pitch. Right decision. The ball's dropped. And it squirts out of the pile. Iowa State thinks that they have it, and they do. Jace Gilbert recovers the fumble. Sam, the pitch looked to be on point. It was dropped at the last minute on a play that should have been a first down. Dawkins part of the Street Profits tag team, carrying around the Cincinnati belt, getting a full tour of the new facilities, and we start to think about some personalities that could be wrestlers here. Big Citrus, Dante Corleone, the Godfather, and how about in the secondary for the Bearcats, the Logan of Doom, featuring Logan Wilson and Matthew McDoom, the starting cornerbacks. Tremendous partnership between the Big 12 and WWE on full display this entire weekend here in Cincinnati. Sam Acho, Taylor Davis, Roy Philpott. Cyclones get it back. And Chase Sowell racing ahead for a first down. Taylor Davis with a special guest.
I'm here with WWE star Angelo Dawkins, part of the prolific tag team, the Street Profits. Angelo, back here in your hometown, how are these Bearcats embodying Cincinnati toughness?
I mean, dominating the trenches first and foremost on both sides of the ball, which they doing, running over people as we saw earlier, and just keep scoring touchdowns and stopping them. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do. UC Bearcats, baby, let's go. Bring that smoke.
There you have it.
Start Minecraft and bitch Fortnite sucks right.
Taylor, thank you. Second down and 6. Angelo was here 2 hours before kickoff, igniting this crowd at Nippert, who right now are on their hands after Iowa State back-to-back scores, 2 touchdowns, firmly back in this contest. Chase Sowell dancing out of bounds in plus territory to the 36. Well, Sam, how much fun has this been? Angelo Dawkins in the house, and now this comeback by the Cyclones, an undefeated team out of the Big 12 in the top 15.
I'm not worried about Angelo, man. Oh, Street Profits. I feel like we could take him, man.
Speak for yourself.
You're not with me, bro.
That's all you. First and 10. And on the jet sweep, Sama stays on his feet. And don't forget WWE Crown Jewel live from Perth in Western Australia next Saturday, October 11th at 8 a.m. Eastern. Catch it all. The all-new ESPN app. Corey Rhodes to battle Seth Rollins in a WWE Crown Jewel Championship match next weekend, bright and early here in the States. 2nd and 7. Big drive for Iowa State. Bearcats in search of a stop. It's been a while. Rocco Beck, sidearm delivery and incomplete. Back down to Taylor Davis.
Back here with WWE star Angelo Dawkins, part of the Street Profits. Angelo, what can we expect from the WWE Crown Jewel next Saturday in Australia?
Oh, it's going to be fireworks. Fireworks from the city, from down under in Perth, Australia. It's going to be off the chain. You got Cody Rhodes taking on Seth Rollins. Champion versus champion. Who's going to walk out as the best of the best? You know what I'm saying? We got Tiffany Stratton versus Stephanie Valkyra. That's going to be off the chain. We got a lot of matches. It's going to be a lot of fireworks, a lot of action. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What more could you want? Belts ready.
And a free beer as well.
Taylor, thank you. The Cyclones would love a completed pass to Ben Bramer, and now it's 4th and 7. Iowa State will go for it again on 4th down. Becht buys a little bit of time, flings it incomplete. At the 20-yard line, there are no flags on the field. Christian Harrison against Xavier Townsend. Poked it away at the last second.
Great coverage by Harrison. We talked about that penalty earlier, trying to keep your hands off the hips. Harrison does an outstanding job staying in coverage, batting the ball away, incompletion, turnover on downs.
Lead for the home team, and Carson Willick. What a game, what a day it's been for the junior linebacker for the Cyclones, Sam Acho, as we go Acho mind on his afternoon after this play.
Yeah, he's stepped up. Carson Willick has stepped up as a leader. We've talked about some of the losses in leadership on the back end. They've been searching for someone to lead. Willick's done it.
Handoff straight ahead. And you want to talk about physicality. He has seen it on both ends of the spectrum this afternoon.
Without a doubt, Carson Willick has been macho mind in one regard of like, hey, I'm going to run over you. But he's like, you know what, I'm going to get you back. Brendan Sorsby, where are you? I will find you, and I will punish you, and I will use my mind, my size, my strength, and my leadership to make you pay.
On second down, Sorsby 6 for his last 7, now 7 for 8 to his tight end. And the security blanket, Joe Royer. Ahead to the 39, and a very important third down coming up for both sides.
More important question, Roy. We talked about this whole Street Profit situation, and you said you were running from the fight. Are you running from the fight, or are you fighting with me?
I'm running from the fight.
Oh, my goodness. Lord help us.
Cyclones are running towards this Bearcats defense, forcing the turnover on the last Cincinnati possession. 6 in the box. Now 3-man pressure, Sorsby. And the pass incomplete. 3 Cyclones in coverage surrounding Joe Royer. Marcus Neal disrupting the line of sight. And Iowa State gets the stop, Sam.
2 straight stops for Iowa State, whereas in the first half, Cincinnati could not be stopped. We saw Marcus Neal on that play with the near interception. The series before, there was the fumble on the speed option play. Cincinnati needs to get back to running the football. Iowa State still has not been able to stop the run, and so don't get too tricky or fancy. Run the rock.
Max Fletcher onto the field. And inside the 1-yard line. And Iowa State claiming that that football was touched closer to the 20. Initial indication is it'll be 1st and 10. From inside the 1, and Daniel James able to stop it dead in its tracks right before the end zone.
Max Fletcher, punter from Australia, they consider him a weapon, and he absolutely is. This is the battle in a game of field position. You could not do it better than what Max Fletcher just did.
Stanley Klein down there. Special teams for Cincinnati puts Iowa State with its worst starting field position of this game. 60-yard bomb from Max Fletcher, the Arkansas transfer. Power set. And a stacked eye with Beck under center. And he'll push ahead towards the 2, maybe the 3.
One thing that you noticed there, just general football knowledge, you saw the hard count. Hut, 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 hut. You do a play like that because you can gain 5 yards very easily, very quickly. But then the second piece you saw was a quarterback sneak, just to get out of the back of the end zone, to give your offense room to operate.
Officially a gain of just 1 yard, Sam. 2nd and 9. 4 tight ends on the field. And motioning out. The inside give was Bramer. And Sama gets 1 more yard, and that's it. Jonathan Thompson, a tackle. And for the first time in a long time, this crowd at Nippert back on its feet. Rocco Beck heaves one long. Double coverage, incomplete. So well at the 34 was upended. And Daniel James and Antoine Peak Jr. are right there beside him.
I love the piece in that coverage. You're one-on-one, you're by yourself. Daniel James doesn't hold, doesn't get panicked. He just stays at peace. And then Antoine Peak comes over from his middle field safety position just in case that ball were to be caught. And now what we see is the idea of field position. That's why punting all the way inside the 1 yard line is effective, because the returner's right now lined up inside his own 50-yard line.
Well, the 60-yard punt by Fletcher. Perkins. We'll see it bounce at the 45. And be whistled dead there. Don't forget the WNBA Finals Game 2. Las Vegas Aces and Phoenix Mercury. Headed your way tomorrow afternoon, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the all-new ESPN app. WNBA Countdown tips off our coverage at 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Asia Wilson, the MVP. Alyssa Thomas, a couple of missed free throws in Game 1. Part of the difference, but just one dime away from a triple-double, and what a battle that will be in Las Vegas.
That's another battle going on. Nafisa Collier was calling out some of the management leadership of the WNBA. I said, go ahead, Feast. She, trying to get better opportunities for the players in the W.
Best of 7 this year in the finals. Play action for Sorsby. And back to Caleb Goody. Near the original line of scrimmage, Tayshaun James. Had that play sniffed out from the get-go.
So we've had, so far in the second half, Cincinnati has stopped themselves the first series. Second series, they got stopped. Third series, now it's looking as if Iowa State is trying to bring a little bit more of that intensity. Brendan Sorsby has been charged with hunting down completions. That's what the offensive coordinator said he'd like him to do, making good decisions. Those will be essential on this drive.
Evan Pryor to the 40. Tayshaun James brought him down quickly. Third down for the Bearcats from the Iowa State 40-yard line. And an injured Cyclone player. Quentin Taylor Jr. When you think about what's happening at the cornerback position for Iowa State, no Jeremiah Cooper, no Tez Williams. Both lost for the season with knee injuries, back-to-back weeks. And Taylor is an integral part of what John Haycock wants to accomplish on the back end with that 3-3-5.
You're right, Roy. And Trey Bell, number 7, has been a big piece. He replaced Jeremiah Cooper, who got injured earlier in the season. And now with Taylor going down, maybe they'll look to David Coffey, who's been injured earlier in the season. So they're getting more and more thin on the back end, but that's why we talk about you have to have the mentality of, hey, who is the next man up?
So linebackers a season ago, the cornerbacks this year, Taylor.
Well, and guys, it's also adding a little bit to the defensive front. Down here on the sideline, they've been talking about how comfortable they're allowing Brendan Sorsby to be with a depleted secondary. They've been huddled around the iPad counting how many seconds they've allowed him comfortability in the pocket. Sam, you just pointed out putting a little more pressure on Sorsby. This defensive front knows they've got to carry a bit more with the secondary depleted.
Third down, 5 yards to go. Bearcats 3 of 7 on third. And Sorsby wants to run it, and he will. Absorbs contact short of the line to gain. And stopped at the 38 by Marcus Neal Jr.
Marcus Neal's been all over the field, but hey, we talked about it. 4th down. Offense is staying on the field. I am not so sure about this one. Middle of the field. Haven't had a lot of offense early.
And here at the end of the quarter, Bearcats don't have to snap it on 4th and 3. Now the Cyclones are right back in the thick of this one, trailing the entire afternoon, but now by just 9, 15 minutes to go. Here in Vanderbilt's win at home last year against the Crimson Tide. We start our 4th quarter with 4th and 3 for Cincinnati, leading by 9. All day for Sorsby, now heaves one deep. Man-to-man coverage, out of bounds, incomplete. And there is a penalty flag on the near hash. David Coffey, who just checked in, was trying to cover Noah Jennings. 3 injured Iowa State cornerbacks. 2 coming into the day, and 1 more with Quentin Taylor going down moments ago. Big call here.
So the ref, field judge, hats off because it was out of bounds. But now they're conferring and discussing if it was PI.
The offensive receiver went out of bounds on his own, losing his eligibility. By rule, there can be no foul for pass interference. Before there is no penalty, the pass is incomplete. The ball will go over on downs.
And you saw the hat go off, indicating what was going on in real time.
David Coffey, you see there's going to be some of the contact, but the receiver steps out of bounds. It was announced that he went out on his own.
Well, the hat comes off from the field judge right as that ball arrives and right after that foot taps out of bounds, Sam.
Game of inches.
A massive sequence on the first play of our fourth quarter. Just 8 seconds in, the Cyclones get it back. Undefeated, ranked in the top 15. They have not led in this game. Busama corralled near the 40. Important to note that we have not seen Carson Hansen in this second half, and Hansen has put up solid numbers this season, over 300 yards rushing. It's been Busama, and Hansen appeared to be banged up at the end of the half on that interception that was nullified by a pass interference call.
But we've seen Busama this game, even in the first half, have a huge impact, and so now a lot more of that load is going to be on him.
And Sam, you wonder too, is this the moment where the tight ends start to come more into play for Iowa State? And Beck on 2nd and 7 sends it out of bounds. And Burkle and Bramer were both in the vicinity. He was running out of real estate. 3rd and 7.
Another critical third down. It seems as if Rocco Beck has been in this position all half long, and there's that crowd again trying to get the offense out of rhythm.
Here's Beck retreating off the back foot, incomplete. Bramer was the intended receiver. He was falling down, a defender right over the top of him. And a penalty marker comes out on the far side late. And the Iowa State sideline lost its mind for a moment.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, the Iowa State head coach. 15-yard penalty. It will be 4th down.
The flag came out, Sam, about 30 yards from where the play ended. And Matt Campbell, who we talked about it earlier, rarely loses his composure, is always cool under pressure. Something happened there that set him off in a major way.
Well, I think it was the lack of a pass interference call. It looked as if Christian Harrison arrived just a little bit early, but there was no call made. Going to see Rocco Beck floating to his left. Looks like Harrison gets there just a little bit early. Arguable, but I think that's what Campbell was upset about.
There you see a head coach receive that kind of penalty. Manny Covey bobbled it for his second. Ends up corralling it with a fair catch at the 31. No, still a 9-point lead and a lot of time left in our fourth quarter in Cincinnati here at Nippert Stadium. Cyclones have been dominant with the time of possession, a third quarter that saw Cincinnati net just 20 total yards. And the Cyclones able to slice that 16-point halftime lead down to 9, and you wonder, deciding not to go for 2 on that lone score in the third quarter. Not a big deal at the time, and still not a huge deal now.
More than 4 players in the backfield in the kicking team. 5-yard penalty is added on to the end of the play for Cincinnati.
And back down to Taylor Davis.
Really, like you said, Matt Campbell, not typically a guy that loses his composure. He has showcased some frustration with some of these calls down here on the sideline, but I spoke with him at halftime. He seemed agitated then. He couldn't get in the locker room fast enough to talk with his guys, and he told me it was because we are a program built on details, and we have completely gone away from the details in this game. It's not so much about trailing, it's the way in which they've been trailing.
Yeah, those infractions. We talked about the 7 penalties for 55 yards. Not something that you see in Ames that often, or here on the road. There's another punishing run. Tyree Walker into Iowa State territory, and Carson Willick on the wrong end of that stiff arm. Here comes a flag.
And Carson Willick is just receiving this physical hit from Walker again. It's like he's searching it up and saying, okay, where is Willick? Boom, I found you. But it looks like it's going to be going back.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist, number 56 offense. 15-yard penalty, replay first down.
No, second penalty on DeAndre Buford today. Starting right tackle for the Bearcats. That's a huge call. Instead of 1st and 10 in Iowa State territory, ball's going to be shoved back all the way inside the 30.
It's right in the middle of your screen. You see Buford going low, and that's a few too many yards beyond the line of scrimmage. If you're at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, you can go low. But if you're more than that 1 yard beyond, you will not be able to have a block low like that.
Boy, Sam Walker and Pryor haven't skipped any days in the lower leg workouts. The power that they've shown today. A message delivered to the rest of the Big 12. Caleb Bacon stops Brendan Sorsby. Will be 2nd and long.
And I want to see Cincinnati get back to the run game. I understand it. We had a penalty 2nd and long, but you've had so much success in the first half. Second half, you haven't done it as much.
RPO on the slant. Another flag. First down Bearcats for now. Caleb Goody.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 53 offense. 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
It's a 3-time team captain, Gavin Gerhardt.
So it's an RPO, and what has to happen here is you're not allowed as an offensive lineman to be more than 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage when the ball is released. So Gavin Gerhardt, they're blocking the run. It's a run-pass option. Their job is to block the run. If the ball is going to be passed, you have to throw it quickly. And Gavin Gerhardt gets essentially swam, and so he loses his balance. He's beyond 3 yards. That's a clear ineligible person downfield.
Negates a gain of 9. 2nd and 16. 3-man pressure for the Cyclones. Sorsby feeling the heat. 3rd down and 16.
I still wonder, Roy, why Cincinnati hasn't just stuck to the run from the beginning of the half. They had over 200 rushing yards in the first half, and they started to get a little bit cute, right? Let's try our speed option. Let's try a little bit of RPO. Just call design stretch plays, outside zone plays, plays that Iowa State hasn't been able to stop. I lean more towards that.
Isiaku applied the pressure on Sorsby that time. 3rd down, Sorsby. Well, it looked like a quarterback draw, and he tricked everybody. Noah Jennings wide open. Inbounds and into the red zone. And you look for the dirty laundry, and there it is. Way back at the 38-yard line.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 77 offense. 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
Tarantayo that time. Gavin Gerhardt the previous play.
That's what people, I thought you heard that saying, you can't win for losing. It's like nothing's going right. Tarantayo, once again, he's too far down the field. This looks like a beautiful play design. Patient, 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 lull the defense asleep. But if that's going to work, the entire team, all 11, have to be on the same page. Tayo has to know we can't go that far down the field. But I believe that's on Sorsby for holding the ball too long.
Instead of a gain of 55 yards, it's 3rd and 21. 4th quarter that has been filled with mistakes. The Cincinnati Bearcats. And Pryor does what he can all the way back beyond the original line of scrimmage. Tayshaun James shoved him out and down. And the punt team trots on the field for Scott Satterfield. And we saw Max Fletcher just moments ago bomb a 60-yarder inside the 1. And that started to turn away the Iowa State momentum. Xavier Townsend would love to give it back to the Cyclones here. And Fletcher straight up in the air. Townsend and his 30 with a fair catch. And here comes another flag. Now we've seen it now on 3 of the last 4 plays.
Illegal formation, 5 players in the backfield and the kicking team. 5-yard penalty will be added on to the dead ball spot. First down, Iowa State.
Well, a feisty Nippert Stadium. Not happy as Iowa State gets the football back.
With Vanderbilt was to get tons of third downs and play keep away.
We'll see if that happens today, Roy.
Thank you. Iowa State football trailing by 9. And Rocco Beck back to the air. Long throw. Pass is caught. Hauled in at the 40. And another penalty flag comes in late. Logan Wilson bringing down Sama. And it's been a penalty fest against the Bearcats the last 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, the game's gotten sloppy on both sides of the ball. Both Cincinnati side and even Iowa State with that Matt Campbell penalty. The third quarter and going to the fourth. It's been a lot of dirty laundry.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So Logan Wilson's going to come up and make the tackle, driving him back. Whistle's blown, play is over. What they didn't like was all that extra. The WWE move.
It's a costly mistake, and now Cincinnati, more than 20 minutes of game time have passed since its last points. At one point it was 31-7. 15 in a row on the board for the Cyclones. And to the tight end, Bramer. Stopped by Golday. And in a breaking news release, no penalties on that play. As we take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Capital One. The big game in the Sunshine State tonight in primetime. Sam, Florida State, Miami, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Who do you like?
I like Miami. I think Carson Beck has been playing outstanding. Florida State, obviously they had a loss last week to Virginia, but for me it was they were too leaky against the run. They gave up too many 4-yard, 5-yard, 7-yard runs.
Sama high steps his way to a TFL. Christian Harrison. Form tackle, 3rd and long.
This tackle by Harrison. Great job setting the edge by the defense and spilling that ball all the way out to your edge defender. Harrison makes a form tackle, perfection.
3rd and loud. Becht has a man, incomplete. Eskelsen was open. Becht had to thread the needle. 4th and 7.
Yeah, and he just stumbled out of his break. That was a double move. It actually was wide open. It wasn't an overthrow by Becht. It was a stumble by Eskelsen. But now we got 4th down. And we talked about Rocco Becht this entire game of his calmness when things get crazy. But if I'm Cincinnati and I'm the fans, I'm bringing the noise. I'm trying to get as much pressure on Rocco Becht as possible. I'm not saying bring 5 or 6. I'm saying Dante Corleone and company call some pass rush games and make them uncomfortable.
Cyclones need 7. Becht delivers. Pass is hauled into the 25. Xavier Townsend, first down, Iowa State.
Big time play. That was a big time play. 4th down, 4th and 7. You're down by 9. You know your quarterback needs you. You had an injury earlier in the season. You go and snatch the ball out of the air. Big time play by Xavier Townsend.
Well, Townsend, the UCF transfer. Chase Sowell, the injured receiver. think he means the offense. I was going to say that is an updated addendum to that rule I was not aware of, but that makes sense. The injury comes after the ball is spotted. Automatically the timeout is charged.
A new point of emphasis for this season is trying to avoid the fake injuries when the team's going hurry up, and then offensive player or defensive player, whatever reason, usually it's the defense, will try to, say I got a hamstring or something. Now this situation is different. The offense just made a huge play. This is not fake, but the rule simply states that if a player presents as injured after the ball is spotted by the official, then that team is charged a timeout.
Now Sewell coming off the performance last week, 4 catches for 146 yards. In the resounding victory against Arizona, really his breakout game. Was banged up in preseason camp, Sam. You mentioned it earlier. That kind of hurt his development and his rhythm with Rocco Becht early part of this season. And a good sign to see Sewell up to his feet. Let's take a look. Player Spotlight today brought to you by Tecovas and Rocco Becht. Knows this play here at the end of the second quarter. Perhaps midway through, targeting was called. He went into the medical tent. He comes racing out, tried to start to play before he was medically cleared. Then on an untimed down at the end of the second quarter, reaching the end zone, the touchdown pass in the third quarter. The lone points to start this second half by either side. And here comes Rocco Becht in a moment he is built for.
Seemed like I would say was sleepwalking the first, I was going to say first quarter, really first half, to the last 2 minutes, and they woke up almost after that hit. They woke up and the offense started to produce some points.
Down 3 cornerbacks on defense, the Cyclones. Also without Carson Hansen for this second half, the running back. Abu Sama into the red zone, barrels his way to the 18. Six-yard gain. Rocco Becht, the Pop-Tarts Bowl MVP a year ago, the Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year 2 seasons ago. Third year as a starter. Sama bottled up, sent down. Gain maybe half a yard. It'll be third down. Gola Collard able to chop him down. Well, down 2 scores, even with Chase Smith, the walk-on kicker. You wonder if Matt Campbell is thinking right now, how aggressive do I want to be on fourth down if we get there?
This is a position where you're down by 9 and a field goal and a touchdown. If you don't let them score, it gives you the lead. So I have no issues if you don't get the first down here and you're Matt Campbell kicking a field goal from inside the 20-yard line.
He missed from around this distance earlier. Cyclones 4-12 on third down. They'll give it to Sama. Boy, and he kept his balance to get close to the first down. The initial spot about a half yard short, and it'll be fourth and less than a yard to go.
Yeah, and in this situation, you go for it. You got less than a yard left. You got your quarterback, Rocco Becht. It's 11-man football. It's not 10-man football, so the quarterback run can be an option here. But you have confidence in your team if you're Iowa State.
Becht under center on fourth down. Right through the A-gap and needed to get to the 15. And it all comes down to the spot, Sam. We have one official. He indicated that quickly, and the Bearcats defense with a massive stand.
Yeah, that spot looks short. Rocco Becht had a quarterback sneak, and there was a first effort, then there was a second effort, but that spot was not enough.
A mass of humanity right over top of the center, including Dante Corleone, the Godfather. And they stuff Rocco Becht. Bearcats football after this. Did Bearcats with a 9-point lead, nearly halfway home in our fourth quarter. And one of the big stories, the Bearcats defensively forcing 3 turnovers on downs by this Iowa State offense, Sam, that had been perfect on 4th down coming into this game, #1 in the country. And stopping Rocco Beck moments ago, Dante Corleone, injured ankle and all. Hadn't played in a couple of weeks. He's had multiple opportunities to leave this program. A massive nose tackle. And he has stayed the course with Scott Satterfield. And you think about his long-term projections, rest of this season, perhaps in the NFL. Very talented defensive lineman and on full display along with all of his buddies right there at the A-gap awaiting Rocco Beck.
Well, the defense has started it for Cincinnati, but the offense needs to finish it. This Cincinnati offense and Brendan Sorsby, they need to commit to the run. First half, 20 rushes, 216 yards. Second half, only 40 yards on 9 rushes. That was the 10th. Stick to the run and get first downs that way.
Here comes Walker to the edge. Cut it back against the grain. It'll be 3rd down and around 3 yards to go. Big Citrus, Dominique Orange brought him down to the turf after a 4-yard pickup, and here we go.
And even in this situation, Roy, I think you can run the ball. You think, okay, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, usually it's a passing situation, but there's 2 things at play. Number 1, the clock. You want that clock to keep on ticking. Iowa State needs 2 scores. Number 2, you've been able to be effective with the ball on the ground, not necessarily through the air. So I lean with run, even if it's quarterback power like we've seen a few times, or it's an outside zone or even an inside zone. I lean away from speed option. We saw that fumble last time.
Bearcats just those 6 passing yards in this second half for Brendan Sorsby. And instead of 3rd and 3.
False start, number 74, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
3rd down and 8. Joe Cotton, South Dakota transfer, costs his team, and penalties have been the big issue on these last 2 possessions.
7 penalties, 60 yards against Cincinnati in this second half alone. How do things like this happen? When you have a lead, maybe you're trying to play a little bit too tense. The leaders need to step up and say, hey guys, calm down, we're good. Do your job. Stop getting in your own way.
Bearcats in search of that one big play. Trying to melt this clock down. Sorsby wants it now. Has a man and is hauled in. Caleb Goody racing to the end zone. 82 yards. What a moment at Nippert.
If at first you don't succeed, just try it again. They ran this exact same play successfully, but at a penalty. Caleb Goody, he's one of the fastest receivers in the nation. You're seeing the speed, the transfer from Colorado State. 6'1", 178. No, he's not the biggest guy, but he's a fast guy. So you see that speed on full display without the penalty and with the points.
Back inside an energized Nippert Stadium, Bearcats leading 38-22. An electric sideline after that last explosive play. But guys, they've really brought the energy the entirety of this game. Quarterback Brendan Sorsby told me how much confidence this team took away from the win over Kansas. Backs against the wall, 1:45 to go, and they came up with the clutch plays. He said last year we hoped we would be in games like this. This year, we believe it.
Certainly the evidence on the field as we check in again with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
And Roy, a look at Miller Moss. 3 touchdown passes a week ago in the win at Pitt. Louisville is 4-0. They're ready for a test against Virginia here next on ESPN2. And over on ESPN, Arch Manning and Texas' first career SEC road start. It comes in the swamp against Florida, Roy.
Defensively match up fairly well. Curious to see how Arch does. Miller Moss learning on the fly that Jeff Brom offense. The comeback last week at Pittsburgh. Iowa State gets the football back. And a first down has the Cyclones in business to start. Eskelson move the chains on the first play of this next drive. And still plenty of time, Sam, and 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout at the disposal of the Cyclones.
Plenty of time, but not that much time. You need to be in 2-minute mode, meaning hurry up offense. No huddling. Get to the line of scrimmage after you get first downs.
Becht, dangerous pass. Chase so well. Jake Golday crashing down, and he read that play. He read the eyes of Rocco Becht.
Nearly clinic film by Jake Golday. So his job is to cut underneath this route. So he sees the route, he cuts underneath it. They call it undercutting. So if he would have just kept his feet instead of dove, maybe he could have intercepted it. Great job by Golday.
Undefeated Iowa State on the ropes on the road. Becht delivers across the 40. It'll be third down. McDoom with the tackle on Eskelsen. 5-yard gain.
Boy, the Cincinnati defense is starting to jump some of these short routes. Second half, it's been a lot of short routes from Iowa State. Now would be a great time to consider a double move if you can have the protection to make it happen. They had it earlier with Eskelsen. He slipped out of his route.
Corleone checks out on third down. Pressure off the edge. Rocco Becht. Oh, he was open, and he had real estate. Eskelsen, the throw came in a little bit behind him. It's 4th and 6.
Another available route that was thrown behind Eskelsen. Yes, he is one of the fastest players on the team, but Rocco Becht has to be able to put this ball out in front of Eskelsen. Now it's a critical 4th down. Now's not the time for thinking double move. Now's the time just to get 5-6 yards, really 6-7 yards, and get a first down.
1 of 4 today on 4th. Gotta have it for the Cyclones here. And Cincinnati with the timeout. And we saw this at the end of the first half where the Cyclones cashed in. Coming up, 3:30 Eastern on ABC, the all-new ESPN app. 10th-ranked Alabama hosting number 16 and undefeated Vanderbilt. Diego Pavia in town. Vandy at 5-0 for the first time since 2008. Then in prime time tonight, the Sunshine State rivalry returns. Number 3, Miami. 18th-ranked Florida State from Doak Campbell. And meanwhile at Bryant-Denny Stadium, T-Town, Tuscaloosa, it is packed and it's going to be loud. Diego Pavia has been talking a lot before this kickoff, and he should, given what happened last year in Music City. We will see if Ty Simpson has a response protecting his home turf today.
I just want to see if 6'7", 359-pound Caden Proctor, number 74, left tackle for Alabama, is going to catch another pass in the red zone and maybe get in the end zone this time.
After the timeout, 4th and a long 5. Becht, heave one deep, got a man, and it's hauled in at the 26. Chase Sowell. Boy, he accelerated into that reception and caught up with a pigskin at the exact right moment. A gain of 31.
Clutch. That's the only way to describe that play.
Empty backfield. Iowa State utilizing tempo. Back goes down. Jalen Hunt.
4th and 6. You could go short, but they instead go deep. Chase Sowell, the transfer from ECU. He knows he's one-on-one on Logan Wilson. They believe in their matchup. They like their one-on-one. The 6'3", 210-pound redshirt junior from Humboldt, Texas. Big-time play.
Remember, he required assistance off the field just moments ago in what appeared to be cramps. And back on the field there to pick up 31. And meanwhile, Jalen Hunt remains down at the 35. And so with 4:08 to go, 2nd and 14 for Iowa State. And the temperatures here in Cincinnati today hovering in the lower to mid 80s. You were on the field pregame, and already at 11 a.m. local time with the sun blaring right down, it felt much warmer than that.
It didn't feel like lower to mid 80s. It felt closer to 100. Mind you, I had a suit on, but I'm not running around like these guys are, and it wasn't 2 p.m. whatever time it is right now, 3 p.m. The heat down on that field can get players a little bit more fatigued, especially in the 4th quarter. This is when the conditioning you do in the offseason, the drills that you do, the mindset, the running, all those things matter for a situation like this, whether you're on offense or on defense. This is critical time for both teams.
Trailing by 2 scores, the Cyclones would need 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. With 4 minutes to go. Shot down is Bramer by Logan Wilson.
They need to speed it up a little bit more, Roy. I understand you feel like you have time, but you don't have that much time. There shouldn't be any walk into the huddle. I get it. The clock stops at the 2-minute timeout. The clock stops at the first downs within 2 minutes, but it's third down. It's a critical play. You got to get first downs and get to another possession to score.
Gain of just 3.
Look who's coming back on the field. Number 2, Dante Corleone, right in the middle, right over the football. Watch him communicate. Let's see if he communicates with his defensive linemen on what they're going to do.
From the 28. Broken up, Logan Wilson. Gabe Burkle had a step until he didn't, and Logan Wilson has something to say about it.
Great play by Logan Wilson. He transferred from North Texas. He was a captain there. He's a captain here. He's a leader on the football team, the heartbeat of the team. That play was great, but that play means nothing if you don't make this play if you're Cincinnati. Same goes for Rocco Becht. You erase it. You didn't make it. Now it's 4th down.
Iowa State, a team that went across the pond to win its first game of the year way back at the end of August against Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland. And Matt Campbell, while frustrated with what his team has done today, took a lot of pride in how his team has bounced back and continue to win after that trip over to Dublin. Let's check in again with Kevin Connors, KC.
All right, Roy, as we await the exciting finish of that game in Cincinnati, we want to let folks know if you're looking for the Virginia-Louisville game, it will get underway over on ESPN News. And once we go final from Nippert Stadium, you'll see that game right here on ESPN2.
Great scene in Derby City in Virginia, coming off one of the more impressive wins in college football this season, upsetting Florida State last Friday night in overtime. Now 4th and 11. Cyclones again have to have it, Sam.
And if I'm Iowa State, I'm going back to my matchups, whether it's Chase Sowell or Eskelson on the outside. The corners on the outside for Cincinnati are both 5'9", so height-wise, you like that matchup.
And here's Rocco Becht again. He's got some time. Fires a strike. That's beyond the line to gain. Here comes a flag. Let's see where they spot forward progress. It's enough for the first down. Chase Sowell came back to retrieve it. So on 4th and 11, Sowell picks up 12.
Personal foul, face mask, number 6, defense. Half the distance to the goal line. Automatic first down.
So Chase Sowell is going to be on the outside, tries to get rerouted. He sits, settles, and this is that second play. Gets it, and then you see that face mask grab at the very end.
Well, if you're Matt Campbell right now, you're trying to figure a way to get your team in the end zone. You got 4 downs to do it on 1st and goal, but you're also thinking about your 2-point conversion and the best play you have that you haven't dialed up yet this season in the playbook.
But time is more important. You might have 4 downs. You don't have that much time. You have 4 downs, you got 3 minutes. So you need to get it in and get it in now.
Becht thought about running it. Now is sandwiched out of bounds. Jay Golday.
Yeah, it could have been looked like there could have been a holding on the offense with that pump fake, and then look, you see Golday at the end. I love Jonathan Thompson just staying off, saying, "Hey, nope, you're going to penalize me. I'm good. Hey,
it came in the last minute.
Hey, it's not going to be me, coach." That clock's still running, still ticking. So Cincinnati's
3. Now on 2nd and goal, Rocco Becht back of the end zone looking for his tight end Bramer. 3rd down. Antoine Peak Jr. When we think about the great job his dad did in this city for so many years. was right there on top. The massive 6'7" tight end, Ben Bramer.
So you talk about number 18, Ben Bramer, the 6'7" tight end. In the red zone, another option is to throw it up to one of those tall tight ends. Bramer or Berkeley.
Power forward playing wide receiver. Bearcats show pressure. Beck senses it. They'll set up the screen. Eskelson inside the 5. And let's see if the Cyclones try to run another play on 4th and goal before the 2-minute timeout, and they will not. Fourth and goal from the 3. After the 2-minute timeout. We'll take a break and take a breath.
Louisville, Virginia football, a scoreless game. You'll see it next year on ESPN2, Roy, after our finish.
Kevin, we cannot wait. 4th down and goal for the Cyclones. Still hanging on, but it's now or never. From the 3. Here's Rocco Beck. Wants to throw it. It's got his man. It's Chase Sowell. And the touchdown for Iowa State. So the plot thickens. Cyclones with 1 timeout remaining. They'll have to go for 2 here, Sam.
I love that route by Sowell. I love the fact that they're going back to a matchup in which they believe. But now we got a critical play. Ball's not at the 3-yard line. It's at the, ball's at the 3-yard line. I still think, do you use Rocco Beck's legs? Or do you go back to that matchup that you like with Sowell versus number 7, McDoom?
A conversion here. Cyclones definitely going with the onside kick with only 1 timeout remaining. Empty backfield for Beck. He'll flow one up for his tight end, Bramer. And he caught it. A 1-possession game, Ben Bramer. The 2-point conversion, and here we are at 38-30.
So starting with the touchdown, Rocco Beck to Chase Sowell. He likes his matchup. They call it a whip route. You go inside, you come back outside. Beautifully placed ball. And then you go to your trusted tight end, Ben Bramer. How tall is he? About 6'7". Get him the rock.
I see what you did there. And he is 6'7". More importantly, the 1-possession game and an onside kick coming, considering the Cyclones have just the 1
Number
timeout.
11 for Cincinnati is now wearing 42. Number 11 is now 42.
And we remind you, coming up tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, before a must-win game for the Ravens, Adam Schefter, the latest on the Ravens playing without Lamar Jackson, or quarterback, plus all access, the NFL's rushing leader, Jonathan Taylor, and Randy's best catches of the week, of course, and You Got Moss. Sunday NFL Countdown tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. After the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, Chase Smith on the field, the walk-on kicker for the Cyclones, and an onside kick on the way.
Remember, you have a new kicker situation.
The Bearcats wanted to take a look at that formation. How nerve-wracking is it to be on the hands team in a moment like this, knowing you got something coming at you, a fastball at 100 miles an hour that you got to try to catch cleanly?
It is nerve-wracking, but the coaches put their most trusted people on the front line. I was on the front line every now and again. You know, we recovered a couple of them. But the exciting part is that you have a job. You have a specific job. So you're looking at the kicker. You're wondering, okay, who's the real kicker? Number 94? Okay, great. He's away from me. I think the ball might come my way. So if I'm the furthest guy away from the ball, my eyes are on the football. I'm making sure it goes 10 yards. Now, if I'm to the same side as the kicker, he could kick it back to me, if that makes any sense. So you know the types of kicks you're going to get. So each of these players on the front line, not only are they trusted, but they've practiced this time and time again. They all know their responsibility. So that's the you call it fear, but the joy for the frontline players.
Now 2 kickers on the field. It will be Smith that tries to lob it off the hop. He can't do it. Bearcats recover at their own 49. Ola Collard able to hop on top of it easily. And with just 1 timeout remaining and 1:55 left, it starts to become a mathematical equation and almost certainty in favor of Cincinnati.
And you're wondering, why was the kick straight to Gola Collard? Well, the issue is that's the third-string kicker. He played high school quarterback. He played punter in high school. He kicked as well. But this is a situation in which he probably hasn't had that many reps on the onside kicking situation. So that's why you're wondering, if you're an Iowa State fan, man, why do we kick it straight to the team? You're dealing with that next man up.
A game that Cincinnati has not trailed. A 17-point explosion in our first 15 minutes. Oh, Sorsby, nearly disaster. Almost dropped the snap. And then Lasso down from behind. Here comes the final timeout for Iowa State. And you think about this for a moment. If the score holds, and for a coach like Scott Satterfield, what this potentially could mean entering his third season. Near disaster, Sorsby recovered and found a way to get down quickly. Satterfield inheriting this team from Luke Fickell, who left to go to Wisconsin. Fickell took Cincinnati to the 14 playoff just 4 years ago. Satterfield comes in from Louisville. There's a change across the board. It has taken some time. Signature win last week at KU. You back it up with an upset in quotations against top 15 Iowa State. Cincinnati was a slight favorite in this game. It would be enormous for the confidence, the direction that this program could be trending.
And the culture as well, not just the direction or the confidence. This team has been trying to build a culture for years, even with Nico Palazetti, who's their strength coach, who was from Ohio State, won championships there. They're trying to build something, and wins like this, if it holds, that's a culture builder.
Now Sorsby will try to buy as much time as he can, and kneels down. That play clock resets now at 40. So the next snap coming on third down and long will be right near a minute to play. Cyclones cannot stop the clock.
Sorsby's going to try to do the best he can. If two things, either one, Cincinnati will call a timeout right with 1 second left, or after that, when that ball is snapped, he's going to try and take as long as he can before he takes that knee.
We saw an interesting scenario just a week ago with Indiana and Fernando Mendoza trying to protect a late lead and retreating some 40 yards as time expired into his own end zone for his safety. And the game ended. Indiana won, but it was 20-15. It was one way to do it, and so now the Bearcats will utilize their final timeout. You take a look at their upcoming schedule, and you want to say anything's manageable in the Big 12, but you look at UCF. Oklahoma State's already made a coaching change. Baylor has been explosive but has struggled at times, and then at Utah and Arizona, it's manageable for Cincinnati fans coming up.
But the next part you have to think about is, how do you manage the expectations? If you are a team that Cincinnati, you win this game, you beat a top team in the Big 12, now all of a sudden you're no longer the hunter, you may become more like the hunted. So your mindset and the leadership has to continue, and you cannot let your foot off of the gas. Sure, you celebrate, sure, it's a good win, but if you want to be consistently good, you have to be able to win this game and then respond next week.
Well, they're supposed to have a 30-minute waiting period before fans can get on the field here. That student section at Nippert at full capacity starting about an hour before kickoff today. They are ready to explode. And they'll hand it off. Tawee Walker making sure he's protecting the football. And Cincinnati should be charged with its punt team executing a play of some kind. Around 20 seconds to go here at the end of the game.
And the two keys are this. If you're the return team, of course they could try to block it, but get a clean catch. Point blank period. Don't let that ball bounce in the ground. If that ball bounces in the ground, those are seconds that are wasted. On the other side, if you're the punt team and the returner for whatever reason decides not to return it, maybe it's too far away from him, do not touch the rock. Let as many seconds possible, let those seconds run off of the clock.
Bearcats will take that 5-yard delay of game. And now Iowa State in search of a miracle.
No, they checked it. They checked.
Xavier Townsend Was back deep to receive the punt.
They got
Cyclones are going to try to block it. Important for Fletcher to simply catch the punt cleanly and get it off, which he does. Checks up at the 30 where it's kicked out of bounds.
Yeah, I don't like that decision. I understand you're tied. Hey, if the ball's bouncing your way, don't touch it. But in this situation, it's different. Seconds are critical. I understand you say it's just 11 seconds. You don't touch it. Now it's 10, 9, 8, 7 seconds left. Now they only have one play rather than two.
Now the flag on the ball as it sailed out of bounds. Did he kick that with his shin maybe?
No, he hit it with his hand, but they may be thinking illegal batting.
Yeah.
So that's what the referees are conferring. Is that an illegal bat?
Now don't go anywhere just yet. I mean, this has been the nature of this game today. The penalties, the start and stop nature, with really both sides giving yardage away at times. Almost a microcosm of 4 quarters here in the Big 12 today. Cyclones staring their first loss squarely in the face in 2025. 11 wins last year, 2 quarters away from the playoff. Participating in that Big 12 championship game against Arizona State. It didn't work out. And a loss does not destroy those hopes of reaching the ultimate destination.
Look at all those DBs, Roy. They're all 25, 30 yards back. So what I expect for Iowa State is to try and get 25 or call it 15 to 20 yards. And then there'd be that Hail Mary opportunity. The whole field is open for Rocco Becht. Get a first down, spike it, then run the Hail Mary. They don't have to get out of bounds on this play.
Both teams out of timeouts. We'll get you to Virginia and Louisville. Big matchup in the ACC as soon as we're done here.
The legal bat of the kick on the kicking team. It's a 10-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. The ball went out of bounds at the 25. The ball will be enforced 10 yards to the 35. First down, Iowa State.
Well, 11 seconds to work with, and you hit the nail on the head. A chance to try to get towards midfield, and then you heave it however you can into the end zone from there.
All eyes for the defensive backs are going to be, yes, watching the quarterback, but they need to be on their men. If it's man-to-man, you play this kind of blanket coverage. Don't let anything behind you.
And here's Beck going underneath Bramer, unable to catch up to it. 6 seconds to go.
Now things start to change. Now you start thinking, okay, do you have time to spike it? Maybe not. Do you have time to try and get out of bounds? Maybe not. So now is when you start thinking about those hook and lateral plays if you want to try and get first downs. Maybe you have enough time to get out of bounds. I don't think it'd be hard to try and get a first down and spike the ball.
One more time for Rocco Becht and Iowa State. Short completion, Burkle will pitch it back to Sowell. They'll send it around the horn as best as they can. And then out of bounds is Bramer. And that will do it. They're storming the field at Nippert. Iowa State goes down for the first time, 38-30.
They've been waiting for this one for a long, long time, Roy.
Highest ranked win at home since way back in 2006 against 8th ranked Rutgers. A different era, but what a start in 2025 for Scott Satterfield and the Cincinnati.